Hello, my goblin family, and welcome to the chaos. So tonight we are going to keep working on Umbreon. And I apologize for not being here on Wednesday. I was not feeling good. So I'm back. Feeling better. But yeah, here we go. Let's see how much I can actually get done before my chaos minions jump in and tell me to start finishing off some Pokemon hoops. Oh, did she already fall asleep? Aww. With her mug open and everything. Aww. They were tired. And my music stopped. Again. The music keeps turning on and off. That's gonna be really annoying if that continues. And also, the chat keeps reloading. Super fun. I'm wondering if my internet is acting up. Sandra, thank you for the follow. I appreciate you. Hello, Kaley. How are you doing this evening? I'm good, how are you? I'm doing alright. My kids were gone all week with their dad for spring break, and we just got back late last night, or not late last night, but like at bedtime for them last night. So today we just kind of had a mellow day, getting back into the swing of things and everything before, school starts back up again tomorrow. But my older kiddo came home with a real nasty sunburn across her face, and my little one came home sick. So we decided to just take a real mellow, easy day today. Our day has basically been Pokemon themed, just all day. I was working on my epic Pokemon tapestry piece for quite a while today. Petra Dipper, thank you for the follow, I appreciate you. And Riley, thank you for the follow as well, I appreciate you too. So I was working on the tapestry piece. The kiddos were playing some Pokemon video games. They played some Violet. They played some Pokemon Snap. My partner jumped in and played a little bit of Arceus for a short while. So it's just a very Pokemon themed day today. Sorry they're not feeling so great. Sounds like a quiet day would be good. Yeah, that was kind of our thought too. You could tell they're not feeling themselves when they don't eat all of their breakfast or lunch or dinner, and they eat like half of it, and then they're just like, I'm done. And I'm like, really? Because this kid normally eats everything. So, But it happens. I'm hoping that they start feeling better soon. But yeah. Michaelers, hey, how you doing? Hadasahada, thank you for sharing the live. I appreciate that. I just joined live. Sorry if you already answered, but where did you get this pattern? I have not answered that question tonight. I actually make all of my own Pokemon patterns. They are available through the link in my bio. You can get them on either my Etsy shop or through my Patreon. If you're looking to get more than like 2 patterns or so, I would highly recommend thinking about the Patreon, because it's cheaper when you're buying 3 or more patterns, basically. Skeletons, thank you for the follow. I appreciate you. And Track, thank you for the follow as well. I appreciate you too. Hi, Wednesday. My kitten's already working. Yeah, sure sign something's off when the kiddo doesn't want to eat. Hello, Bluebell. How you doing? Bethany, thank you for the follow. I appreciate you. My daughter loves Pokemon. Aw, that's awesome. So do my kids. Mia, thank you for the follow. I appreciate you. Where do you buy the fabric? I have a link in my bio that's titled something along the lines of like, where do you get blank? And that link will take you to a blog post where I compiled a whole bunch of links to take you to all the places where I buy all of my supplies. I buy my fabric from either Michael's or Joann's. Joann's, I will get either the DMC brand or the Joann's generic brand fabric, but if I'm going to buy from Michael's, I will not buy the Michael's brand fabric. I don't personally like it. But I have also bought in bulk before from burlapfabric.com. So it really depends on how much you're looking for. So like I said, I kind of give a little bit more of an explanation on that blog post talking about like what size I get and where I get it from and why and stuff like that. So yeah, maybe check that out. And then I have like links directly to those websites and stuff like that that talk about, you know, what exactly I use to stitch with. But this cloth is called Ida cloth. It's spelled A-I-D-A. And I use 14 count. The count that it is how many stitches per inch you get. So I prefer 14 count. If you are a little bit hard of seeing, you might want to go with a lower number, like 11 count, because that means the stitches will be a little bit bigger and a little bit easier for you to see. Lady Petalengra. Lady Petalengra, sorry about that. Wow, my brain like took a second to put all of those letters in order. Thank you for the follow, I appreciate you. And Sam, thank you for the follow as well, I appreciate you too. Okay, thank you, lurking for, because it's late for me. Oh, is it late already? For me, it's only 7:30, 7:40. My kitten is lurking under the desk. She keeps staring up at me like, when are you gonna bust out those treats, man? I used to cross stitch. Oh, very nice, Ayala. It's almost 1 a.m. Oh my gosh, yeah. Time zones are absolutely wild. That is so late. I don't think I could stay up until 1 a.m. anymore. At least not when I have to wake up the next morning because kids. My kids like to wake up at like between 6 and 6:30 every morning. My natural circadian rhythm is so far off from theirs. I want to be up all night long and sleep most of the day. And they are morning people. They wake up and they're bright and sunshiny and cheery, and I don't even know how to handle that. Are you doing Umbreon? I am. This is Umbreon we're working on. Ayala and Bree and Liz Guriel, thank you for the follows. I appreciate you guys. Aikyo Maurjiekwi, thank you for the follow. I appreciate you. It looks great so far. Thank you. Sour Deep Fried Milk, thank you for the follow. I appreciate you. I have to get up in 5 hours. Oh my gosh, Bluebell, you need to get to bed. I'm not friends with 6 a.m. I will say that. Me and 6 a.m., we're not buddies. Not a fan. We're going to tie it off. When I cross stitch, I can never get the needle in the right hole. I always have to look at the back. You know what? I did that for a long, long time. I mean, years. I only recently started stitching with one hand on the top and one hand on the bottom like this, probably in the last year or two, and I've been cross stitching for like 20 years. So, I mean, you gotta do what works for you, regardless of what other people can do or what works for other people. That's actually one of the things that I love the most about cross stitching is it's very much a choose your own adventure hobby. There's so many different ways to do every single step of the process that everybody's process is going to look a little bit different. And that's totally okay. Unknown, thank you for the follow. I appreciate you. It's a lot of guesswork and trial and error. Yeah. If you look closely, I rarely get it through the right hole on the first time through. I usually like stick it up and then I'm like, oh, nope, that's not quite right. And then like kind of have to fiddle around with it for a moment to get it to be where it's supposed to be. I just do it real quick so you don't notice. Vanessa, thank you for the follow. I appreciate you. Ed Wolf, thank you for the follow as well. I appreciate you too. Just signed up for the Patreon. Super hyped to get stitching. Oh, thank you so much, Skeleton Snot. I appreciate that so much. Where did you get this pattern? It's lovely. Thank you. I make all of my own Pokemon patterns, and my patterns are available through my Etsy shop or through Patreon. If you are looking to get more than 2 patterns, I would definitely suggest checking out the Patreon. My full library access tier is cheaper than buying 3 patterns. So I definitely recommend checking that out if that's something you're interested in. I currently have 44 Pokemon patterns up, and I add at least 4 more to the library every single month. This month I added 8. I added 8 new patterns to the library this month. I went a little overboard, but that's okay. I like to spoil y'all. So yeah, I am also working on building out a shiny, like the shiny versions of all of the patterns. For all of the Pokemon that are in the library as well. So once I get all of those built, we are going to turn it into a game on Twitch to unlock them as we go. So I think that that's going to be really fun and exciting. But yeah. God loves all humans. Thank you for the follow. I appreciate you. I actually made an Umbreon before. I made it for my friend. Oh, that's super cool. No way, that's so cool. Thank you. Hi, how are you? I'm doing good. How are you doing? Marla Pearson, thank you for the follow. I appreciate you. Boo, thank you for the follow as well. I appreciate you too. And Malin Johansson, thank you for the follow. And Annabelle Mitchell, thank you for the follow as well. You guys are amazing. You guys are all so, so wonderful. Ramona, thank you for the follow. I appreciate you. And Ice Beat, geez, you guys are like going crazy with the follows right now. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Can you show us more of the Pokemon, please? If you go through the link in my bio, I am also streaming on another platform at the same time. And on that platform, you can see the wall behind me that is covered with Pokemon hoops of ones that I have stitched in the past. If you don't want to go over to that other platform, you can, I have a video in my cross stitch patterns playlist. I have some videos where you can see the wall behind me. I also have one that I filmed at my old apartment, where I show off all of the ones that I had stitched up until that point as well. Those are all under my cross stitch and patterns playlist here on TikTok. Hi Violet, how are you doing? Unknown, thank you for the rose. Thank you, I appreciate that. Arso Julie, thank you for the follow. I appreciate you. Trust me, I'm trying. You need to get sleep, Bluebell. The sleepies are necessary for the functioning. I'm well, how are you? I'm doing pretty good. My kiddo came home sick yesterday, so I am really hoping that I don't end up catching it. We'll see. I'm their comfort person, unfortunately, so when they're not feeling well, they tend to latch on to me, which means I usually get sick. But we did turn on the video games today, and we're just like, you know what, we're going to have a mellow video game day, we're just going to chill, so they weren't quite so clingy as they normally are when they aren't feeling too good. Luckily, they don't have a fever, they just have, like, a pretty nasty cough, so, and their nose has been running a bit and stuff, so hopefully they'll be feeling better in the next day or two. It amazes me how differently everyone stitches. Looking good. Thank you. I agree. The choose your own adventureness of cross stitching, because there's no one right way to do it. There's just so many ways to do all of the different steps of the process that everybody's process just looks a little bit different. I kind of love it. But it's part of why I talk about like different ways to do different things on here. Like when people ask me like, oh, how do you do this? Like I can be like, well, this is what I personally prefer to do, but here are some other ways to do it as well. You know? Rebecca, thank you for the follow. I appreciate you. How are you doing? I'm doing pretty good. Your life is making me want to cross stitch again. I haven't in a few months. You should do it. I'm an enabler. I will sit here and talk everybody into cross stitching if I can. It is my personal favorite hobby. I have probably cross stitched, like even before starting the live 15 minutes ago, I think I've spent 6 hours cross stitching today already. Which one is this? This is Umbreon. Dark Spooky Evolution. Oh my goodness, Umbreon, my son would freak. Aw, that's awesome. I had to start over my project yesterday. I'm going to start on it again today. Oh, I hate having to start over a project. It is so frustrating. Muck! My longer time followers understand why I hate Muck with a passion. I had to start Muck over because I messed him up so badly. I mean, this was probably 10 years ago now, but even still I hate Muck because I had to start it over. Muck! I need to learn. If you would like to learn how to cross stitch, I do have a how to cross stitch guide linked in my bio that I put together. I highly recommend checking it out. It's totally free. You don't have to like sign up for an email list or any junk like that. I just like enabling people to do cheap hobbies that I also enjoy. Alexandria, thank you for the follow. I appreciate you. Which pattern is that? This is Umbreon. BZ Locks, thank you for the follow. I appreciate you. I got my son into Pokemon and now he can school me. Dude, I got my kids into Pokemon too, and oh man, they are slightly rabid about Pokemon. Just slightly. Those Gen Alphas, man, I don't even know. Well, if I'm gonna go get my cross-stitching tray now. Yes! I have done it! Join us. There's a dice maker who makes a complete set of dice with the evolutions. Ooh, I need a link to that. I need to know. I need that. I collect Pokemon cross-stitches that I've made, and I collect dice, because dice are life. I have way too many sets of dice, but I don't care. I want more. Hey, Don, thank you for the follow. I appreciate you. Also agreed, Muck! Freaking Muck, man. I messed it up so badly. So badly. It happens. Every once in a while. From where? Oh, I make my own Pokemon patterns. You can follow the link in my bio to check out either my Etsy shop or my Patreon page. If you're looking to get more than like 2 patterns, I highly recommend checking out the Patreon. The full library access tier is cheaper than buying 3 of my patterns on Etsy. And I highly recommend checking it out. It's definitely the cheapest way to get access to a whole bunch of patterns. I currently have 44 patterns available in the library. I add at least 4 new ones every month. This month I added 8 because I like to spoil everyone. And I also went a little overboard, but that's okay. It happens. But yeah, it just depends on like how much time I have each given month. But this month I actually made patterns for all 28 of the Pokeballs. So I'm hoping to have that fully ready to release next month onto the Patreon page as well. We will see how much free time I have if I get to finish those up. I was working on those while my kids were out of town this past week, so hopefully I'll get to finish those up and I'll be able to add those up there as well. Juicy Watermelon, thank you for the follow. I appreciate you. Woody Drinks, no way. Sabrina, thank you for the follow. I appreciate you. I'm currently working on a Lemon cross-stitch and I feel like we're all on FaceTime cross-stitching. Yes. That is absolutely the vibe of my lives, is everyone grab your crafty hobby, whatever, and come hang out while I spew nonsense. Because that's all I got. And occasionally I give my pets treats on the live. Because they're wonderful, sweet little babies and they deserve all the love in the world. Can we get Flamingo and Persian? I have not made a Persian pattern yet. Are you talking about Flamingo from the new Scarlet and Violet? So far, I am really only working on patterns from the first 5 generations because in Gen 6, they changed the art style drastically. And I am having trouble figuring out how to convert it nicely to my style and have it be like appropriately sized. So I do have Mimikyu and Sylveon available, even though they are from later generations. But please be aware that they are bigger patterns than the rest of them. So like if you're watching on Twitch, you can see on my wall I have Sylveon here and I have Leafeon right above it. And the Leafeon is a 5-inch hoop and the Sylveon's like an 8-inch hoop. They're just not the same size. I am trying to figure out how to convert them better and like make them more appropriately sized, but I am just struggling with it. It is not coming easy. I have tried like 3 separate times on Sylveon. But anyway, so if you're talking about Flamigo from Gen 10, I do not have any intentions to do Gen 6 through 10 yet until I can figure out how to convert them to look like they're from the same generation as the rest of these. But yeah. Smoop, thank you for the follow. I appreciate you. Aside, thank you for the follow. I appreciate you as well. And Ebony, the Mr. Bunny, thank you for the follow as well. I appreciate you. What fabric are you using to make this? I use Ida cloth. It is spelled A-I-D-A. And you can get it at your local hobby store or your local craft store. Ida cloth, or you can go through the link in my bio, and I have a page titled like where do you get blank, or what blank do you use, something like that. I can't remember exactly what I titled it. And it has links to all of the places where I buy all of my different tools, including the cloth that I use. Oh my gosh, you don't have DMC3? It's the last one you need for Arcanine. Oh my gosh, that's so frustrating, Mock! All the cool kids are on Patreon. I adore you, Kaley. You're amazing. I'm hoping the Pikachu version 2 pattern will be my Pikachu redemption. It will absolutely be your Pikachu redemption. I believe in you. Twitch played with me the other day and it told me your stream was starting soon, so I waited on it. I'm excited to see you live. I am so sorry. I was definitely going to go live on Wednesday, and then I wasn't feeling well, so I didn't end up doing that. And Kaley has redeemed a pet treat time. So let me move the cameras real quick. Here is one camera. Here is the other camera. And here comes the chaos already. They already know. As soon as I move the camera. Okay, down from there. Here we go. One for Clover. And she's going to run away. Where are the kittens? One for August. No, don't swipe at me, sir. Thank you. And one for Wednesday. Good babies. No, it goes back in there. You're not sneaking any today, miss. Oh my gosh, you're licking my finger. You're licking my finger. Oh my god, you're so cute. I love you. You want to sniff my finger too? They need to like sniff my hand to make sure that I'm not hiding any treats anywhere. Like, part of their process. Alright, make sure I'm not gonna hit that. Okay, good. We're good. Okay. Megan Giordan, thank you for the follow. I appreciate you. And Aranala, thank you for the follow. I appreciate you too. System of the Dam, thank you for the follow. I appreciate you. I'm cross-stitching a picture. Oh, shoot. The thing jumped. Hold on. I gotta go back. I'm cross-stitching a picture for my son and future daughter-in-law for their wedding. It has a very Celtic vibe. Oh, very nice. I love that. You did not. Squeals an inner child while Googling cross-stitch supplies. I don't know what I did or did not, but I did something. You also cross-stitch bottom right to top left first. I do. Okay, so for those of you who are new to cross-stitching, typically you will always make sure that your X's, whatever stitch is on top, is always on top, so they'll line up in a little row. I stitch this one first and this one on top, which is considered backward because I'm left-handed. But that is the direction that I do it. So all of my little stitches have top left to bottom right as the first stitch and then the other one. The reason this makes sense in my brain is because when we read from left to right and top to bottom, so this stitch should go first. I don't know why. But this is the way that is considered right-handed by most of the cross-stitching world. So I do stitch, quote-unquote, backward, even though there is no actual backwards. Just as long as all of your stitches go the same direction. And the reason for that is the way the light hits your piece and the shadows fall on your piece. If you have some that are this way and some that are... Ow! Dog, sorry. I just yelled. My dog just tried to jump in my lap and that hurt. Please don't do that, miss. So if you have some that are this way and some that are this way, the shadow and the light is going to hit it differently. And it's going to be very subtle. I will give you that. If somebody doesn't know cross-stitching, they're probably not going to notice. But anybody who does cross-stitching, they're going to look at the piece and they're going to be like, something's off. And when you look closely, you'll be able to see that some of the stitches are off from each other. And it's just like a really subtle, like I said, it just kind of looks a little bit like something's off. So like, it's not the end of the world by any means if you've ever stitched something where you did some way and some the other way and stuff like that. But just if you are getting into cross stitching, if you haven't heard it before, it is best practice for all of your X's to go the same direction. But yeah, Zofia, thank you for the follow. I appreciate you. Gen 6 and onward are 3D models, so I don't blame you. It's difficult to convert them. Yeah, they are a pain in the tuchus. So yeah, for now, I am just doing the first 5 generations, which is still 649 Pokemon. I still have plenty of room to grow and to keep making new patterns, you know? So eventually I will run out and I will need to figure out what to do with those other ones. But for now I'm pretty much just sticking with the ones that are pre-pixelated. Where are the other hydration goblins? Gosh darn it, Tank, you and your hydration goblins. They have not entered the chat room until you came. This is the way. Hello, Tank. How are you doing? You know I love you. Yeah, it's like I said, it's kind of subtle, but once you see 2 pieces side by side where one's kind of mixed up with the X's and one is all the same direction, you're just like, ah, yes. My first 2 had them backwards, but now they all go the same and I can totally tell the difference. Yeah, like I said, it's kind of subtle. When you're first starting out, I fully expect people are going to do it, you know, one direction or the other. But I do include a little, like, paragraph or blurb or whatever in my How to Cross Stitch guide talking about, like, making sure all your X's go the same way. All right, cheers to Kaley and to Tink for my 4 hydrates. There's 1 for Kaley. There's 1 for Tink. There's 2 for Tink. And 2 for Kaley. This is the way. Oh my goodness. Goblins. Goblins all. Ow. Just bashed myself with a clipboard on accident. Alright, where are we? We are down here. Agatha, thank you for the follow. I appreciate you. And Katie and Mac, thank you for the follow as well. I appreciate you too. Thank you. No problem. You're very welcome. What do you suggest I cross stitch? I'm starting a new one right now. I suggest you go and pick up one of my Pokemon ones and cross stitch a Pokemon. And if you don't know which one to do, I recommend doing a random dice roll because I don't like making decisions. So when I have to make decisions, I roll dice. And I let the fates decide for me all of the time. That is actually a very valid way to make life decisions. So, you know, that's what I recommend. Justice Dinner, thank you for the follow. I appreciate you. And Full Metal Nerd, thank you for the follow. I appreciate you as well. Okay, hold on. Gotta scroll back. Gotta scroll back. They're so cute, the kitties. Oh, thank you. Or thank you for the follow. I appreciate you. I do the same, but I'm right-handed. Yeah, I mean, it's considered like a right-handed, left-handed thing, but like honestly, I think it has more to do with like how you first started learning to stitch and like, I don't know. Like I have been told that it is more common for left-handed people to stitch the way that I do with the direction of the X's that I do, and it's more common for right-handed people to do it the other way. But I've definitely met a fair amount of both left and right-handed people who've done it both directions. So I don't know how accurate that poll was that somebody took to get that information, but that is what I have heard. I always go top left to bottom right, then top right to bottom left, and I'm a righty. Yeah, exactly. Meg, thank you for the follow. I appreciate you. What is your Twitch user? I'm going to join on Twitch. My Twitch user is the same as my name here, except it has a 0 instead of an O in soup. So everything else is the same, alphabet soup, just with that 0 placed there. Psycho Witch, thank you for the cat paws. I appreciate that. Ooh, gorgeous. Aw, thank you. Lunatic Fringe, thank you for the follow. I appreciate you. What is the entire palette, if you don't mind? I would show you, except I started putting the palettes back away as I was going. So the rest of the palette that we haven't stitched yet is some chocolatey colors and a little bit of yellow that we have left. But the rest of the palette, I literally put it away because I was doing organizational stuff and I was trying to be good. What did I just do? Did I just do an extra one? I absolutely did because I'm not paying attention. Hold on, I gotta frog 2 stitches. Because, Stop it. Give me the needle back, please. Thank you. Oh no, Tink. What have you done? Tink is gonna try and drown me. Hold on. I need to frog this. And then I will hydrate. I promise. Give me a moment. This wasn't supposed to go up the side here. What do I get for not reading a pattern because I get distracted? Come on. Come on. That's... Oh my goodness. Come on now. Nobody likes a naughty piece of thread. Give me. Thank you. Okay. I frogged it. Oh, how dare you. How dare you all. I need to find the rest of my army. Oh my goodness. All right. Tink's got 3. And then Kaley's got to finish a hoop and another hydrate. Okay, so I have to hydrate 3 times, finish a hoop, and then I will continue from there. So cheers to Tink. 1, 2, and 3. All right, Kaley. What size hoop are we finishing up, hun? 4, 5, 6, or 7? Okay, you need to not be on my lap. I love you so much. She keeps trying to climb into my lap. Hey, I just came from TikTok. I'm unknown. Hello, Skyby Queen. Unknown. Welcome to the chaos. We're the Hydration Goblin Army. Tink is the Hydration Goblin Army. Excuse me, rude. All right. Kaley, what are we finishing off? Oh my gosh, Clover, you are so needy. Hi, Vex. How you doing? This in here. Ooh, gorgeous. Oh, thank you. That's a nice tip to try. Elise J, thank you for the follow. I appreciate you. What is Twitch? Twitch is another streaming service on a computer. I guess you could watch it from your phone as well. It's a little bit different. You can see my face over there as well as what I'm stitching. You can see the wall behind me where I have my Pokemon hoop wall. So I have like a whole ton of these guys all hung up on the wall behind me. And there's like, you can earn rewards by watching and chatting over there. And you earn points and then you can turn them in for what I'm about to do. Like finishing off the back of another Pokemon hoop and stuff like that. Or making me drink water. The goblins. Frogging is the worst. It really is. It is really the worst. Where do you buy the fabric for your cross-stitching? I usually buy mine at either Michael's or Joann's. But I have also bought it in bulk from burlapfabric.com. So it really just depends on how much you need and what exactly you're looking for. I use 14 count. If you follow the link in my bio, I do have, hold on, what the heck did I title it? Because I keep saying this and I don't even know what the heck I titled it. We are helpers, also helpful helpers. No. I see where you're going with this, but also helpful will only last you so long. My supplies list. That's what I called it. I called it my supplies list. So my supplies list is linked in my bio, and you can check out links to all of the things that I personally use, whether that's the floss, the needles, the needle minders, the craft stand, what fabric I use, all of that kind of good stuff is linked over there, so that you can find it as well. Morgan Simple Life, thank you for the follow. I appreciate you. Yeah. Craft stores like Michael's and Joann's, those are my favorite places to buy stuff in person. If I'm shopping online, I will shop burlap fabrics, but I buy in bulk because I do so much. Do you know what it's called? This is called Ida Cloth, A-I-D-A, and I use 14 count. The count is going to be how many stitches per inch you do, so the bigger the number, the smaller the stitches are going to be. So yeah. I use 14. That's my personal favorite to use. Come help hydrate Elle. She only drinks water when we send hydration requests. I really do. I hardly ever drink water outside of streams. I live on tea. And tea alone. Morgans, thank you for the follow. I appreciate you. Okay. We are finishing up a 5-inch hoop. I apologize. I'm getting distracted by all the talking. Don't worry about it. I see them all. I have to finish things in order, though, because otherwise I will lose track. So, Kaley, we are finishing a 5-inch hoop. We have a brand new Abra that just got added in here since the last stream. I just finished him up, and he's going to be a 5-inch hoop. We have Rattata, and we have Mr. Mime. So these are the only 5-inch ones I have left. You guys are running me out. Followed you here after TikTok. I prefer this format. Yeah, that's why I like streaming on both places, is because some people prefer Twitch and some people prefer TikTok. So I do have like the different rewards and stuff on Twitch for the people who are over here, but I do the polls over on TikTok for like which color I should stitch next or which Pokemon I should stitch next. So believe it or not, half the people who follow over on Twitch and watch over here, they will hop onto TikTok specifically for the polls and then come right back here for the rest of it. When you earn bubbles, you can redeem hydrates. Bubbles, is that what they're called? I don't even know. I don't even know what I call them. Abra. All right, we are going to be finishing up Abra. I kind of had a feeling you were going to take that one. So fun fact, Abra is my partner's favorite Pokemon. So this is not the first Abra that I have stitched. There's also an Abra on my partner's wall in his office. Right. And I removed version 1 Eevee from the wall because version 2 Eevee's on the wall now. And I was like, I'm gonna either sell this or like auction it for charity or something, and he stole it. So he stole my Eevee as well. So there you go. Amelius, thank you for the follow. I appreciate you. All right, so we are going to do our best to center this. I'm gonna hold it up to the light and hope that helps somewhat. Heather Rivera, thank you for the follow. I appreciate you. Eldritch, thank you. Eldritch Envy, thank you for the follow. I appreciate you as well. Charlie Without Chocolate, thank you for the follow. I appreciate you. That's amazing. I love that. Okay, there we go. So we want to make sure it's decently snug. It's Pokeballs, but it's confusing. Why is it confusing? Okay, I need some help. I don't like that it's called Pokeballs. I want to call it something else, but I don't know what to call it. So can you guys help me figure out a better thing to call the little points that you guys earn on Twitch? I just finished stitching all the Pokeballs for my son. Oh, very nice. I just made a pattern for all the Pokeballs just this past week. Bubbles of hydration. No, Tink. I am not encouraging you any further with the hydration. You have done plenty, ma'am. Back. Hello, Rita. Welcome back. Hi, I found you on my FYP. Oh, yay. Welcome. Welcome to our chaos. I can promise nothing but chaos. That is usually all I bring to the room. Lyric Video Lady, thank you for the follow. I appreciate you. And When Cats Animate, thank you for the follow as well. I appreciate you too. All right, so the first thing we do when we are finishing off a Pokemon hoop is we re-hoop it to make sure it's nice and center, or at least we kind of eyeball it and make sure it's center-ish, center enough for my caring. Center enough. I look forward to your videos. Oh, thank you. All right, so the next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pull out my scissors and make sure my drawer gets shut so my cat doesn't jump into the back of the drawer again like last time, because that was obnoxious. She jumped into the back of the drawer to sneak into the drawer under it and get into all of the cat treats when I wasn't looking. And she succeeded, and she ate quite a few of them before I was able to pull her out of there, because she did not want to come out of the back of that drawer. Yeah. She's full chaos. And far smarter than I gave her credit for. Like, I already gave her a lot of credit for the smarts, but she is even smarter than I thought. All right, so the next thing we're gonna do is we're just gonna cut like a kind of loose circle, cutting off the excess fabric that we have. I leave about an inch or so of fabric all around the thing. Hold on, move my trash can back where it goes, and then I can't reach it when I'm streaming. There we go, okay. All right, so that's the next step. Sarah Yon Begay, thank you for the follow, I appreciate you. Hello, Nerdy Yoan, hello, welcome. It's nice to see the artwork. Aw, thanks. Okay, so the next step I'm going to do is I'm going to be cutting snips into the fabric up until the edge of the hoop, all the way around, about every inch or so-ish. I don't measure it. I just kind of eyeball it. Nerd Ropes, thank you for the follow. I appreciate you. So we're going to be doing this all the way around. And yes, I see all of the chaos y'all are leaving me with over there. See it all. Author's Delight, thank you for the follow. I appreciate you. Alright, so all the way around the hoop we go, just making these little snips. What chaos. Oh my god. I'm gonna end up drinking the entire bottle. While I'm doing this, they're just hitting the hydration redemption button over and over. Brats, all. Alright. Scissors can go away now. Alright, now we gotta get some thread. Excuse me, Clover. Why are you on my lap? You can't be up here. To think I thought I'd just be good and stitch along tonight. Please. I know better. Y'all are chaos incarnate. Why do you think I start every stream with, hello my goblin family, welcome to the chaos? I know better. I know better. I just appear for like 3 minutes to set up an appointment. You guys are trying to drown Elle. Every time, Chibi, somebody needs to keep these goblins in check because they don't listen to me. Snip it good. Oh my goodness. Okay. Hold this. Eh. Get off my hand. Sorry, I'm like waving my hand in the camera's face. Just not getting into cross stitch and learning so much. Oh, I'm so glad. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me questions. I love helping people out. I am a teacher at heart. This is what I do. Are you streaming on Twitch? I am. I am streaming on both TikTok and Twitch simultaneously. And let me tell you, my Twitch followers are absolute goblins. They love it. Alright. Here we go. Get off my finger. Alright. So, the next thing we're going to do, I want to join the Twitch side as well. Go for it. Okay. So we're going to take our first tab and fold it down, and then our second tab we're going to fold it over, and where these overlap, we are going to stitch up through there. Just like that. Then we're going to take tab number 3, fold that over tab number 2, and this time we're going to go down through those 2 layers. Where are you from? Like what country? I am from the United States. I grew up in Orange County, California, and I recently moved to Maryland, and I like it much better here. I am not a Californian, despite having been born and raised there. I don't tend to vibe well there. I would love to move out of the United States entirely, but alas, I cannot. Someday. That's the dream. Oh, Lord. If I have to give you guys a chair stream 15 times tonight so I can go pee because y'all keep making me drink so much water. Y'all brought it on yourself. It's not my fault. Here we go. Round and round and round. I've never seen a project finish like this. That's so cool. Aw, thank you. This is my personal favorite way to finish them. I like that it lays a little flatter than some of the other sewn methods. The other thing you could do after you cut these little tabs is you could hot glue. You could like fold these over and hot glue them on the inside like this, as long as you just put the glue where the wood is and not on the back of the fabric. But I don't like hot glue. I always burn myself, and I never like to have to sit and wait for the hot glue gun to warm up and then cool down. And then I also do a method where I use super glue to finish off the back. That is not my favorite, but it's good when you don't have enough fabric left over to do it another way. If you could move anywhere, where would you go? Oh, honestly, I don't know for sure. Probably somewhere in Europe. I fell in love with Annecy in France when I visited there as a teenager. I loved it so much. But also possibly Ireland or England, maybe Canada, but I feel like Canada would be a little cold for me most of the year. But yeah, basically not here. Not the United States. But I will say, having grown up in Southern California is a desert, so I very much grew up in a desert landscape, but just, desert on the beach. So even moving here has been a little bit of a weather shock for me. Well, not like a shock. Like, I knew what I was getting into. But I love it. I love it so much. All right, so there is Abra. Abra is done and ready to be added to the hoop wall. So I'm going to set him aside, and we're going to get back to stitching Umbreon. But first, I must drown. Apparently. Oh my gosh. The more she talks, the more parched she becomes. I don't believe any of you. Oh my god, I'm going to have to scroll back. Okay, hold on. Okay, finish the Pokemon hoop. All right. We're going to go one at a time. Tink. All right, cheers, Kaley. Sky Bye Queen, thank you for the follow. I appreciate you. All right, we've got a cheers for Kaley. Cheers for Sky Bye Queen. Cheers for Tink. Cheers for Vex. Oh my god, I'm gonna die. These are all from like 15 minutes ago. Morgans, thank you for the follow. I appreciate you. Cheers, Vex. Cheers, Sky Bye Queen. All right, we're down to 9 minutes ago. Cheers to Vex again. Cheers to Sky Bye Queen. I hit myself in the forehead with the lid. All right, cheers to Vex again. Y'all, I'm dying. Okay, cheers to Kaley. I'm getting to that point where my body is like, no more water. My throat doesn't want to swallow the water anymore. Cheers to Tink. Lena, thank you for the follow. I appreciate you. And Vex, cheers. Okay, I am caught up and my water bottle is now down to here. Y'all suck. Okay, let me... Hi, Clover. Hello. Okay, my dog needs to jump on my lap for a moment because she is being super needy, so... Okay, come here. You need to snuggle for a minute. I know. Just give me a second with the dog. She's... Hi. Oh, hello. Please don't lick my face. Okay. 18 hydrations already. Oh my god. I thought I put a limit on these too. It's only 45 minutes in. I'm gonna die, y'all. I have some money on Amazon still from a gift card. Finally found what I'm gonna make. Cross-stitch stuff. Yes, do it. That is the correct thing to spend money on. I agree. I agree indeed. We did nothing of the sort. Oh my god. Come to Canada. I would low-key, I would love to move to Canada. But also, I think Europe is probably more on the table for me and my partner than Canada is. Like, in the long term, we gotta wait for the kids to be grown up and everything, because, like, custody stuff with their dad and whatnot. But we are talking about Ireland, like, with some seriousness, or possibly England. But I fell in love with Annecy in France. However, I would then have to learn to speak French much more fluently than I currently do. You would think, like, 5 years of French would make me at least semi-fluent. It does not. I forgot all of it. This is my protest for her limiting the pet treats. Okay, that wasn't me. That wasn't me. Brian said I had to limit the pet treats. I would let you do more treats for the babies. If he did. Also, Tink, I don't think you've ever turned in a pet treat once, so don't even start with me. Welcome, Lena, welcome. Welcome to the chaos. This is only fair. Oh my god. We should be able to pet treat more. Oh my gosh, you guys are absolute chaos. Absolute chaos. Abra looks great. Oh, thank you. The Hydrate Redeem is so smart. No, it's not. They drown me every week. Every week. I don't know how this works. Yeah, do Poke Start? Oh, you got an Asha what? I did my part. Oh my goodness. Okay. Michaela's redeemed a pet treat time. Okay, you gotta get off my lap if you want a treat. Oh, yeah. When you start flailing, I almost drop you. I was very careful not to drop you. Okay, here we go. It's a pet treat time. Hey, get down. Off. Thank you. Get off. Good girl. Take your treat. August hasn't figured out that it's pet treat time yet. Wednesday's right here. You don't get under the... Off. You just had yours. There's one for Wednesday. Oh, dainty girl dropped it. You're trying so hard. Okay, excuse me. No pot. No. There you go, sweet boy. Hi, sweet boy. Yeah, I'll let you sniff. I know. You gotta make... don't bite my finger. You gotta make sure I don't have any more hiding in my hands. Why I would have more hiding in my hands? No idea. But they are convinced every time that I do. Can I do that? Okay. Every last time. Okay. Alright. I have missed just all of the stuff, I'm sure. Okay. Demon Fairy, thank you for the follow. I appreciate you. Carolee, thank you for the follow. I appreciate you too. Amazing. Thank you, Shasta. Natalie, thank you for the follow. I appreciate you. Talia, thank you for the roses. I appreciate those. Show us the puppy. I know. The puppies and the kitties. They're so cute. Well, puppy and kitties. Beautiful. Aw, thank you. Yes, I love cross-stitching. Aw, thank you. I love cross-stitching too. Alright. If y'all are done with your chaos, I can get back to actually stitching. I didn't know I took the hydration limit off. I thought I just added it. Maybe I didn't set it up right though. That is definitely a possibility. It usually takes me a couple tries to get those things set up because it acts up. It's been a month and you forgot to put the cool down back on. Y'all, you're killing me. Yes, England. I was gone for a moment. Did she give the treat? I did, Lena. I'm so sorry. It's okay. French is one of Canada's official languages. I had to take it all through elementary and high school, and I could say hello. Where's the bathroom? Oh, the pupper's so cute. She is cute and also extremely needy. She is the neediest dog I've ever had in my life, and I love her to bits. So, we all have our issues. Back when did the game night, you put... When you did the game night, you put the 45-second cooldown on it, and then you foolishly took it off and never put it back. I tried to add a limit to how many times y'all could hydrate me per stream, but I don't know if I did it properly. Clover's a Chihuahua, right? She is a Chihuahua mix. We're not 100% sure what she's mixed with, but yeah, she's definitely part Chihuahua. Tried cross-stitching once and failed miserably. We'll try again one day. Oh, you should definitely try again. I absolutely failed miserably my first one as well. And now I've been cross-stitching for like 20 years. So I definitely say don't judge yourself by your first cross-stitch, by any means. I messed mine up so badly I had to throw it away. It was the worst. The actual worst. Anne-Marie, thank you for the follow. I appreciate you. Oh, thank you for the follow. I appreciate you as well. Nunaj Pesarillo, thank you for the follow. I appreciate you. I wanted to take French in high school. My mom made me take Spanish and I almost failed it because I wasn't interested in it as a language. I really wanted to take sign language because they offered it at my high school. And my mom made me a deal and she said, because her and I had gone to France and Sweden when I was 13 to visit. We were visiting my aunt and uncle who were living in Sweden at the time, but we spent a week in France as our layover. And so she made me a deal when I went to high school. She was like, if you take French, I will take you back to France. And I was like, deal. So I ended up taking French and we went back to France. And that is when I fell in love with Annecy. Because the first time we went, we only went to Paris. And the second time we went, we traveled all around France and saw a bunch of different cities. And it was beautiful and wonderful. And I loved all of it so much. It was wonderful. I would love to be able to speak another language, but try as I might, I can't. I need a lot more practice and a lot more discipline to succeed. And I don't have those things on my own naturally. You did it for me a month. It was... Oh, good lord. My cat is attacking a box. Because that's what they do. No, we're not done with the chaos. You're never done with the chaos. I know better than to think you might be done with the chaos. I am aware. Cheers, Kaley. This just means we need to keep hydrating until we find that limit. Please don't. For the love of God. If you haven't hit it already, I didn't set it up. Or at least I didn't set it up properly. Brat's got a brat. God damn it. I was a good friend that allowed me the freedom to bring chaos and build an army of chaos, the chaos brats. That is what I'm dealing with over here, good lord. Can I perhaps join this army of chaos? Why? Why you gotta do me like that, Lita? Why? Dang it. Oh, darling, you're already one of us now. Oh my god. We're trying to find the limit that she supposedly put on the hydrate. I don't think I set it up properly. Oh my god. That's it. It's happening. It's happening. I'm gonna die. Did I set it up? No, it didn't set it up properly. Didn't frickin' work. You became part of the chaos the minute you hit that hydrate button. Oh my god. All y'all. All y'all. I swear. This is wonderful. Thank you. I hope you're enjoying the chaos that my Twitch stream is also creating for me. As I try so hard to just make a cute little Umbreon. That's all I wanted in my life today. I'm saving up for the pet tree. Ah, yes. Yes, yes. Give them the love. They need the love. They need all the love. They deserve it. They're the best babies in the world. How long have you been cross-stitching? I have been cross-stitching for over 20 years now. This is a long time. I think I started cross-stitching when I was about 10 or 11 or so. Probably about age 10. I am 33 now, so yeah. I love me some chaos. Oh my god. It's when you took away my family-friendly D&D stream, I decided to build an army. I mean, I didn't take away the stream. The stream took itself away. That was not entirely my fault, and you know that. Chibi cheers. I hit myself in the head with the lid again. Gotta hydrate twice now. God darn it. Sky, just so you know, she limits the pet treats. She's cruel. Okay, I only limited it because Brian made me. Do I need to get him in here and you guys can have it out with him? Because he's not going to do that. He won't come in here. He told me I had to limit to 3 per stream. That's the limit. That's all I'm allowed to do. It was such a fantastic family tree night. Yeah, you can shoot him a message on Discord and get mad at him on Discord, and you do that. Good luck with that. He won't listen to me. You're still young. How did you get into cross stitching? I randomly picked up a cross stitching kit from Michael's when I was a kid. And it was one of the printed ones where like the pattern is printed on the cloth for you and you're supposed to stitch on top of it. And I, being all of like 10 years old, was like, oh, this is easy. I don't need to read the directions. So I didn't read the directions. I didn't know you're supposed to split the floss. I had no idea what I was doing. So I mangled it just so badly. So badly, like I ran out of thread. And there was just big tangles and knots all on the back of it, and it was just an absolute mess. And so I ended up having to throw it away. And then I set it aside for a couple years, and a couple years later I came across some Pokemon cross-stitch patterns that somebody had made, and I started stitching Pokemon. And I have been stitching Pokemon ever since. And those original patterns that I started stitching, that person took all of their patterns down and they're not on the internet anymore. So I started making my own patterns and stitching my own patterns and I have also, what did I just do? Hold on. Hold on, my brain is fried. Did I do that color already? I did. Okay, I'm fine. It's fine. I didn't highlight everything that I was supposed to, and so my brain just fizzled a little bit. It's gonna be okay. So one of my favorite, I have a few cross-stitch designers that I absolutely love their work. Happy Little Mouse on Etsy, I adore. Basically any of the patterns that are made on the black Ida cloth, I absolutely love. I've stitched 3 of them, the Tyrannosaurus Rex skeleton, the woodland raccoon, and the woodland fox, and they are gorgeous. I love Shannon Christine's patterns. I have not bought a Shannon Christine pattern yet, but I desperately want to, and I will at some point. It is like one of my... because I want to get one of the kits. Hers are like gorgeous, gorgeous patterns, and then she like has you attach beads and little crystals and stuff like that to the piece as well. And so I want to buy like the whole kit that comes with like all of the beads and stuff as well, and not just the plain pattern. And then there was another cross-stitch designer who left Etsy, which kills me. But I am working on a Wheel of the Year teapot series by that designer, but they are no longer on Etsy, which kills me. Because every time I show off the pieces, everyone's like, oh my gosh, where'd you get them? And I'm like, they took them down. They're not selling them anymore. And it breaks my heart. But yeah. Happy Little Mouse is epic. L lore, yes. that is my lore. It's like 1:30 in the morning. Sky, you need sleepies. What are y'all doing on here so late? Don't worry. Okay, if it's late, y'all, I do, like, you can watch these after the fact. They're on Twitch for like 2 weeks, and then I also like move them over to YouTube as well. So like, if you ever like want to go back and watch the streams, you can. I don't know why you'd want to, but like, get some sleep, y'all. Insomniacs unite, I swear. That would be me if my kids didn't insist that I wake up so early in the morning. I would absolutely be up all night long and then sleep most of the day. That is my natural rhythm. I like it. I haven't been able to sleep before 10 p.m. for years. I can't go to sleep at 10. Like, my partner is usually in bed around 10:30-ish, and I go to bed as well, but then I turn on a book light and I read for like another hour, because I cannot go to bed that early. Can't do this, what motivation can you give for me to continue my cross stitch with a pattern of 12 pages? Take it slow and try to do just a little bit every day or 2 days. Like, pick a rate that works for you and say, okay, this week I want to spend 1 hour cross stitching. And if that's, oh my god, sorry about the noise in the background, that is my cat attacking a box. He thinks he's being clever. He is the sweetest little simpleton that ever lived, and he has 2 brain cells, and that is it. So he thinks he's being an amazing hunter right now, and it's a box. It's just a box. So decide on what you think is like a reasonable goal for yourself. So like, okay, I just want to stitch for 1 hour this week. And if that's 4 15-minute sessions or 3 20-minute sessions, or even just 1 hour-long session, just knowing that you're making a little bit of progress every week is really good. One of the other things that I like to do is I have a Discord server, and we do have a needlework channel, and I will post progress updates in there of like my work in progress pieces and be like, you know, here's how far I am today. And so we really like cheer each other on in that channel, sharing not just our finished pieces, but also our works in progress. And I think that that's been really helpful for a lot of people to like have other people in there cheering you on who know, you know, how long some of these projects can take and how much they can take out of you. So yeah, those are kind of my tips. So just know that it is a marathon and not a sprint, and it's okay for it to take time. I recently started a 200-page Pokemon tapestry piece. When it is finished, it is going to be 6 feet wide and 5 feet tall. And so I've been posting some updates with that one, because I know that that is going to take me literal years to finish. Even if I worked, I did the math, and even if I worked on it 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, it would still take me about 2 years to finish. And obviously I don't have 8 hours a day, 5 days a week to just sit down and devote to that. So it's going to take me a lot longer than that to finish. But just, you know, little progress updates. Here's how it's going. Here's what I worked on today. Here, you know. I also really like making time-lapse videos. So I will set a timer for myself for about an hour, and I will say, I'm going to sit down for 1 hour and do nothing but stitch, and I create a little time-lapse. And so I get to see exactly how much work I got done in that hour, and seeing your piece come alive before your eyes like that, like in the sped up view with the time lapse, is just really, really cool. And whether or not you share that, like you don't have to share them if you don't want to. I don't. Excuse me, sir. That was super rude. He knocked the dog's food bowl over. It was empty, but he still did it. He's such a little stinker sometimes, I swear. It's kitten chaos time. So yeah, whether or not you actually share those time lapses, it can still be like just really nice reminder that like when you do sit down and put in an hour of work, it really does make a difference. So yeah, I hate slitting the floss, so I had the 10 count plastic canvas with unsplit DMC floss. I mean, hey, you got to do what works for you. If that is what works for you, like that is totally valid. I know people who use the plastic canvas and stitch with yarn, just straight up yarn. They don't even bother with floss. Bitch boy, thank you for the follow. I appreciate you. Did I miss any other comments? Where can I find the patterns? So I have all of my patterns available on my Etsy shop as well as my Patreon, and that's all linked through my profile. If you are looking to get 2 or more of my patterns, I would highly suggest checking out my Patreon. My full library access tier is cheaper than 3 of my patterns through my Etsy shop. And you get access to 44 Pokemon cross-stitch patterns, and I add at least 4 more every single month. And this month I added 8 new patterns. So yeah, I went a little overboard, but I like to spoil y'all sometimes. So yeah, I have all of my patterns up there. I am hoping that I will be able to finish. I'm working on a Pokeball pattern where I've drafted patterns for all 28 of the different Pokeball varieties. And so I have like the Pokeball patterns already drafted out. I just need to like set them up in a style to make it like a bookmark, or like to make it a hoop, or like I need to like shuffle them around and put them in an order to make it like look like something and not just like, you know, a bunch of random Pokeballs just lumped together on a page. But I'm hoping to release that pattern next month in addition to at least 4 brand new Pokemon patterns. So yeah, I have way too many ideas in my head and not enough time to get them all out of my head and onto paper. Like I have an idea for some Pokemon gym badges. I would love to sit down and get into some other fandoms as well, like Stardew Valley and things like that. It's just a matter of, you know, sitting down and finding the time and making the time to do that. So I chip away at it a little bit at a time, and that seems to be what works for me. Yadam, thank you for the follow. I appreciate you. Louise Adams, thank you for the follow. I appreciate you as well. Stardew Valley, oh my god. I know, right? I think it would be so cute to have like a little sampler pattern, like a cross-stitch sampler of like Stardew Valley with like the different fruits and veggies and like some animals and stuff. I think it would be super, super cute. I legit was starting the kangaroo last night and forgot to eat until 11 o'clock at night, and I worked at 9 a.m. Oh my gosh, yeah, I do that a lot. I love progress pictures on the Discord. I do too. I love seeing what everybody's working on, and I love seeing like how everybody's progressing, and like when people have questions and stuff like that. I love it so much. So 100 years for me. I mean, yeah, it's probably going to take me about 100 years too, but that's okay. I'm only 33. That by the time I make it to 100 years old, they'll be able to keep me alive for another 33 years, right? One stitch at a time. Yep, exactly. One stitch at a time. That tapestry piece happens to be 798,000 stitches, which is just so many. It's so many stitches. It's gonna be fine. It'll be fine. I'll get there eventually. Maybe. Someday. Munchy Mocha, thank you for the follow. I appreciate you. Alright, where are we jumping over to? We are going to jump. We need to have, if we jump in here, we need to have 3. 1, 2, 3. There. Down. Here we go. What is your setup like for your hoop? So I have my hoop is being held by a craft stand. I have it linked in my bio under the My Supplies link. I have a list of like all of the supplies that I personally use. So I have a link over to the exact craft stand that I use to hold up my hoop. It is the Loops and Threads craft stand that I got from Michaels. And I love it. It has made my stitching so much faster. I love Pokemon. I made a few cross stitches and made them magnets. Oh, very cool. Sweet, thanks. No problem. I'm off tomorrow, so it's going to be a movie and cross stitch day. Oh, I love it. I'm jealous. Although that's kind of what I did today, so, you know. My kids were playing video games all day, so I just sat there on the couch and worked on my tapestry piece while they stitched. Today, I was working on Zubat, and when I tell you, holy heck, it took me way too long to figure out that I was stitching a Zubat. I like did part of the outline, and for the life of me, I could not wrap my brain around what Pokemon I was looking at. And finally, my little one goes, I think it's a bat Pokemon. And I like looked at it like on the diagonal, and then I was like, oh, it totally is. But I was like, before I was trying to like orient it upright in my head, and I like could not for the life of me figure out what the heck I was looking at. Totally a Zubat. Totally breaking my brain. See you later. Have fun. Bye, Lyric. Have a great day. Great afternoon, evening, whatever time zone you're in. Everything you know about Pokemon I learned from watching you. That's okay. I don't know very much about Pokemon either, as it turns out. There are far too many of them, and Lord, I used to be good at it. Not anymore. I just ordered my first cross-stitch kit. I can't wait to try it. Oh, that's so exciting! I'm so happy for you. I sew too, but I struggle with getting in a comfortable spot. Me too. I squirm around so much. So much squirming. Alright, I think that is it for that color. So, you guys are going to get to vote on which color we are going to stitch next. So give me a moment to do the highlighting, and then if you are on TikTok, you will get to participate in the poll. If you are on Twitch and want to participate in the poll, you will have to go over to TikTok, at least for a moment, to participate in the poll. So I will give you a second to do that if you want to do that while I finish highlighting all of the little bits that we just filled in. It's going to take me just a second. And then I will show you what colors you get to vote on, and you get to do that. Because I don't like making decisions, ever. Oh my gosh, we did so much. Okay. Oh shoot, that was the other one. I forgot to highlight, and it caused me some trouble earlier. We're gonna highlight the things that need to be highlighted. Okay, are we good now? Nope, this ear too. Okay. Now I think we're good. And you Hold up. My brain is breaking. Give me a second. Need to find the broken brain. Where did you go? Oh, sorry, I attacked that because I wasn't looking at what I was doing. Oh, there it is. Okay, we're good. We're good. We're good. My brain's not broken anymore. Okay. You can do it. I believe in you. Thank you. I'm so glad somebody believes in me. I'm collecting for a finish loop. Oh, for a finish loop. Nice. I had my partner double count my grid on the back of my piece because I was second guessing my eyes even with my new glasses. Dude, all the time. Second guess all the time. All right. Mortal Reading, thank you for the follow. I appreciate you. And Xylonin, thank you for the follow as well. I appreciate you too. Let me open the poll up real quick. And then I will, hold on. And then I will catch up on comments while the poll is going. So, why is my poll under review? There's nothing wrong with my poll. Okay, so you guys get to pick what color I'm going to be stitching next. This is number 1. It's sort of a dark chocolatey brown. This is number 2. It's sort of a milk chocolate. And this is number 3. It's a pale yellow. So 1, 2, and 3. Go ahead and vote in the poll which one I should stitch next. And while you guys do that, I'm just going to chat and catch up on any comments that I missed. Jolly Jade, thank you for the follow. I appreciate you. And Medifloric, thank you for the follow as well. I appreciate you too. Hello, how are you doing? I'm doing good, Unicorn. How are you doing? It has been just a cross-stitch kind of day. I literally spent like 6 hours today working on my mega tapestry piece. So that was really cool to like get to sit down and actually like spend a good chunk of time working on it today. And yeah, now I'm stitching this. And we finished up Abra. So it is all good. Oh man, Unicorn. Cheers. Elliot May Crochet, thank you for the follow. I appreciate you. I don't know what to put my username 14. Thank you for the follow as well. I appreciate you too. Relicans, thank you for the follow. I appreciate you too. You guys are so wonderful. You guys are all so awesome. Except when you're trying to drown me. Then you make me sad. Ah! I was super impressed by your setup for your tapestry piece. Okay, so the tapestry piece, that is a scroll stand that I purchased off of Amazon for like $45. Okay, can you stop trying to jump in my okay, you know what? You can jump up here for just a minute while the poll's going on. Jump up. You gotta actually jump with those leggings, doggo. She missed. Okay. Oh, you can't bonk into things. Okay, please don't lick my face. I don't like that. So I bought the scroll frame on Amazon, but it was only 3 feet wide and I need it to be 5 feet wide. So my partner expanded the dowels that hold the actual Ida fabric to be 5-foot dowels that we got at the hardware store. And then he also took a 2x3, I believe it was, and expanded the bottom bar that holds it all together, like that holds the frame at the bottom as well. And then he like had to put what were they called? Something bolts. I can't think of the word for them. It's a special kind of bolt that like went into, you like screw it into the dowel, and then on the other end it's a bolt head, so it like, then we like drilled just an empty hole through the wood where it connects, and then put a wing nut on the outside. Maybe I should make a video and show kind of more in depth of what we did. So we put the whole thing together, attached the Ida to it, got it all set up, and then I like went to stitch on it, and the entire thing, because there was so much fabric wrapped around the top bar of the scroll, the entire thing just like whoop and fell down because, you know, gravity. So then he had to like figure out a way to like configure a triangle and like put a bolt through it on both sides. so that it would stop it from gravity from pulling the back down. So it like, hold on, I can set this down now. What am I doing? So it's got a triangle on this side, and it's got a bolt stuck through it. So as the tapestry piece, it like hits the bolt and stops it from flipping all the way down. So we had to like figure out the right angle for me to stitch at, and like just, yeah, it was a lot to modify it, but also like it was like he did a really good job of modifying it so that it like works for what I need it to do. And also like I still have all of the smaller pieces, so like if I end up stitching a smaller piece in the future, I can put the 3-foot ones back on, and stuff like that. So it's now like multi-size and multi-purpose and multi-use, because all of it is just held together with like bolts gone through the wood and then a wing nut on the outside. Yeah, my partner is super handy. He is great with stuff like that. I would never have been able to figure out all of the things that he did to make this work, and I also wouldn't have had the tools to do it. Like, he had all the tools and like the stuff to just like do it all. So yeah, he's wonderful. I love him. I was looking up what to do with my thread bits. I want to make something with them. I might put them all in Christmas ornament ball and then make one for each year cross stitch. That's a really cool idea, and I've definitely thought about doing something like that, except I always forget. And so I have more than one jar. This is actually my smaller jar, and it's like pretty full. But I also have like a bigger jar as well that is also very full. I don't know, I have a jelly bean. No, Clover, you may not have a jelly bean. I get a treat too, okay? Also, it's pet treat time. And our poll voted for that one. So, there we go. Is this 14 count or 11 count? I use 14 count almost exclusively. So this is 14 count. Okay, doggo, if you would like a treat, you need to get off my lap. Okay, doggo. She's weak, she needs more treats. Always. She always needs more treats. She deserves them all. She is the sweetest dog on the planet. Oh, shoot. I opened the drawer without moving the cameras first, like a silly goose. Okay. Honey, you're wagging. You're so happy. There you go, doggo. Okay, you need another. You didn't even walk away with that one. You just scarfed it down. Oh. Okay, that was a little aggressive. This is why we do one. Every time I'm like, oh no, I'll give another one. No. Okay, Wednesday, hello. And no pause, no pause, no. Ow! Much better, sir. Every time we try to do two, you guys get too aggressive, all of you. Okay, I know. You need to make sure I don't have any more hiding. I'm not hiding anymore, I promise. Promise. All right. There's my babies. Babies get all the treats. They deserve all the treats. They're the sweetest babies in the world. All of them. I kind of don't want to disturb my thread bit too, because they're all layered by when I use them. I kind of like it's like excavating. Like, I can kind of tell what projects I was working on by like the color pathway. So like the whole bottom chunk down here is like blacks and blues, and I know that that was from when I was doing the blue space pattern for my daughter. And it was a 9-inch hoop, and it was wall to wall, and it was all shades of like blues and blacks, and it was gorgeous. But yeah, there's a lot of thread bits in there from that particular project. But yeah, I think it's really cool to like be able to kind of like look back in time and see, you know, the colorways of whatever you were working on at the time. I don't know what to do with mine either. I don't have an answer. Kim, thank you for the follow. I appreciate you. Kitty, yes, my babies. Amy T, thank you for the follow. I appreciate you. Yep, I got 2 babies. I got a little void, and I got a little tuxedo. When I say little, he's a chunky little baby. They're getting so big. I'm not ready for them to be adult cats yet. Pokemon, yes! This is Umbreon. Oh, right. Where are we stitching first? Okay. This is going to fill in most of the rest of this. Most of the rest of this. Okay. We are going to start up here at the tip of the tail and then work our way down. If you don't want to like disturb the thread, could you like keep an empty Christmas ornament handy as you're stitching? Like, you know how I like keep this little jar? If you just like kept the ornament right there and like stuck them in as the year progressed? I don't know. You can use them in stuffing of projects like toys and stuff as fillings. Yeah, I've definitely thought about doing something like that, but like one, I don't sew enough, and also like they compact pretty tight, and like I feel like I don't have enough that like, I mean, polyfill's just gonna do a much better job, you know? But I have been thinking about making myself a cute little pin cushion. So I might fill my pin cushion with my old threads. I think between this jar and my other jar, I might actually have enough to like fill up a little pin cushion, but I definitely wouldn't have enough to fill up like even a small pillow or like a stuffed animal, you know, even with the amount of stitching that I do, it just takes a really long time to save up any like significant amount of it, I guess. Where's my other, oh, here's my other jar. Oh yeah, my other jar is a bigger jar and it's very full. That's my big jar. This is my little jar. But, yeah. I'm back. I just went and bought cross stitch stuff and it's coming tomorrow at 1 p.m. Oh, I'm so happy for you. That's exciting. I want to see all the colors though. Yeah. I just have mine in a little square of my floss case. I like having them in the jars because I can like see all the colors and like, you know, the excavation layers of which projects I've been working on. But yeah, I want to do something with them. I'm just not sure what. I've also seen like some really cool like artwork made out of them and stuff like that, but I don't know that I have the patience for that. To like make a whole separate piece of art out of it. Like I've seen some, like I can imagine making like Van Gogh's Starry Night out of like, especially because I have so many like blues and blacks down in the bottom here, like making a floss version of that out of like little floss strips and stuff could be really, really cool. But again, like I don't think I have the patience to sit down and do a project like that. But I imagine it'd be pretty easy with like some white glue and a piece of like cardstock or something like that, or like some spray adhesive. My animals used to lay them flat on fabric and sew with machine over top and then turn them into cloth. Yeah, I mean, that could definitely be like super cool stuff to do with them as well. Charlie, thank you for the love you, the little Target thing. I appreciate that. And clothes, yes. Okay, what did you get? What did you get? 5 different size hoops, like 100 thread colors, a ton of pins and needles, and some other stuff. Very exciting. That is Happy Mail, for sure. to herself. I love it. Indulge. Am I an instigator? Yes. Am I apologetic? No. It's not like I have so much already, so who's keeping up? It's fine. It's fine. Don't worry about it. I recently was told by my partner, who, you know, is also an enabler, to just go and inventory the colors of floss that I already have, and we're just gonna go to the craft store and buy the rest of the colors that you don't have so that he can stop having to make last minute runs to the store because I just need this one color to finish this project. So yeah, I literally went through, inventoried all of my floss, found out that there was about 30 or so colors that I was missing out of almost 500 or so total colors that they sell for this brand. And we went to the store and we bought the last, 30 or so colors. So I now have every color of DMC floss. And so now if we have to make a last minute run to the store, it's because I ran out of a color, not because I didn't have that color to begin with. So now I'm just trying to make sure that, like, when I start running low of a color, I put it on the list. That way we can just get it when we're, next door at the grocery store or whatever. We can, like, run into the store and just pick it up. Rather than having to make a separate trip specifically to just get one color of thread for me. Because I am notorious for that, as it turns out. But yeah. Fran Diaz, thank you for sharing the live and for the follow. I appreciate you. Sus J, thank you for the follow. I appreciate you. I'm very tempted to buy all the floss right. I reorganized my floss box and was able to open up 5 slots for more floss, all the floss. My problem is, even with 2 floss boxes, it's real squishy, and if I'm not careful, they all, like, slinky spring and try to jump out of their little spots, because I have too many crammed into, like, each row. It's fine. It'll be fine. I'll deal. It's not a big deal. I've been stitching all day. My dominant thumb is on fire. I think I'm done for the night. Oh no, I'm sorry, Vanessa. I have also been stitching all day. I did about 6 hours of stitching before hopping on the live, and it's 9:15, so I've been on the live for an hour and 45 minutes. So all total, I've been stitching for almost 8 hours today. But am I gonna stop? No. Can't stop, won't stop. Never stop. But if I didn't have my craft stand, I would not have been able to put in 8 hours at all. I'd be able to put in a couple hours max. Because, like, holding the hoop is a killer on my thumbs. So. Destiny, thank you for the follow. I appreciate you. I'm tired of missing one for a pattern. Same. That's basically where I was at. My partner was like, I'm sick of running to the store to buy you one color of floss. Just give me the list. I just got a little box to put my bobbins. Nice. I don't have a box yet. My floss is all just chucked into a tray, but I'll soon invest in one. Yeah, when you don't have too many colors, it's not too big of a deal. I have too many colors. I have too many colors. They have to be organized by number. And even still, there will be times where, like, I'll be looking through and I'll be like, I know I have this color. Why is it not in my box? And then I'll have to be like, oh yeah, I have it set aside in this other project that I'm working on. So that's super fun, is to remember where you stored your little squirrel stashes of floss everywhere. I try to keep my projects in, like, a little bag or a box or something like that, so at least it's all, like, together and, like, the cats can't get into stuff and whatnot, but, like, even still I have to remember, where did I put that little bag or box with this particular project in it that I was working on? But, yeah. I don't use a cross stand, might get one soon. Well, I highly recommend it. Honestly, like, the cross stand was an absolute game changer for me. I can stitch so much faster than I could before, and I don't, like, my hands aren't injured like they used to. Like, it just used to kill my hands and my tendons and my joints so badly before. Yeah, I highly recommend it. My ADHD can never. My ADHD hyper focuses on this forever, but I have to have something else going on in the background, like live streaming with y'all, or watching TV, or listening to an audiobook, or a podcast, or watching YouTube videos. Like, I have to have something else going on. This is the thing that keeps my hands busy while my brain is doing something else. Starlight Atlantis, thank you for the follow. I appreciate you. Okay, Kitten, why are you screaming? Excuse me, Kitten. Why are you just yowling? It's super rude. Candace McLean, thank you for the follow. I appreciate you. Sorry, I've been so quiet on this live. I'm working on a blueberry cow. That sounds adorable, and you do not need to apologize for working on adorable things. It's okay. It happens. This music is from Terraria. I think that was probably the last song. This channel is called Game Chops on YouTube, and they do remastered video game music. So, but it's all stream friendly, so I don't have to worry about my videos getting flagged or anything like that. And I still get background music because I need sound. The song before this, yeah. I love organization, but I hate that these numbers don't make them go in color order. Yeah, I mean, when you realize that, like, DMC brand has been around for, like, literally over 100 years. I think it's like 170 years or something ridiculous like that. Like, they did not know when they were first making their colors how many colors they were gonna need. The colors have no rhyme or reason whatsoever. There is no pattern, and so I just put them in number order, and when I need to see them pretty, I look up online for people who have sorted them by color family. So when I'm making my patterns, I look at an image of them as color families to figure out, like, you know, oh, I need like a darker shade and a lighter shade of this color, and so I usually try and stick in the same color families, but it just depends on each pattern, which one looks the most like, you know, the original sprite that I'm basing it off of. Okay. Can you go through the hole that I want you to go through, please? Thank you. Give me that. I need a pattern for it. There's no rhyme or reason. There is absolutely no rhyme or reason. If I'm watching a TV show, I have to be doing something else, like playing games on phone. Yes, if I am not cross-stitching, I will be playing a game on my phone, I will be reading articles, I will be scrolling Pinterest, I will be doing everything except just sitting and staring at the TV, because that is hell in my brain. I've been here for almost 2 hours, haven't said a peep, but I'm cross-stitching my lemon. Cross-stitch the lemon! Welcome, Indigo Void. Welcome to our chaos. I hope you enjoy it here. Alright, Chibi Kitty, we are going to be finishing up another cross-stitching hoop, so let me finish up this one last little stitch and tie off. And you can go ahead and tell me, Chibi, if you would like me to finish up a 4, 5, 6, or 7-inch hoop. I'm gonna go, I should probably go to sleep. You should definitely go to sleep, Sky. Sleepies are necessary. Alright, that's the last stitch. We're gonna tie off on the back. I watch Critical Role. You know what? As much as I like D&D, I have never seen Critical Role. Which I feel like is probably blasphemous, because I actually used to know Abra. Like, we used to do a show together once upon a time, about a decade ago. But yeah, I've never actually seen an episode of Critical Role in my life. Mine are too, but I like having it mobile, so I took it to my kids' swim lessons and stuff today. Oh, that's awesome. You're welcome. Thank you. Mysterious Arsonist, thank you for the follow. I appreciate you. I paid the 20 bucks for the swatch book. It brings me joy to open it. Oh, that's so cool. Same girl, same. Yes. It's so good. I have definitely heard that it's very good. I should probably look into it at some point. I'm sure I will at some point. All right, let's do a 7-inch hoop. Alrighty, here we go. Flat desk. Banished. Alright, what am I doing with my life? Oh god! Oh god, all the folders are falling apart. I thought the folders were a good idea. Now they're doing a mutiny. Alright, 7-inch hoops. Okay, you still can't pick Gyarados because I still really need to iron it. You know what? Okay, I'm just going to take Gyarados. I'm just going to throw it on my laptop so I cannot ignore it, and I will try very, very hard to remember to iron it before the next stream. I make no promises, however, because my brain is an iron sieve. Okay, so Chibi Kitty, who are we going to be finishing up? We've got Moltres, we've got Zapdos, we've got Fearow, we've got Golbat, we've got Kingler, we've got Muk, and we've got Pidgeotto. So these are all the ones that are going to be fitting into 7-inch hoops. And you get to tell me which one you want, because you're the one who redeemed the finished. Critical Role's so good. I have heard that so much. I might need to just bite the bullet and get into it. And hyperfixate. Let's go Golbat. Alright, sounds good. Bye, you become my new favorite comfort streamer. Aw, thank you. I appreciate that. I didn't think I would ever be somebody's comfort streamer. Like, that was never a goal. But that makes me happy, so thank you. Okay. Let's pull Golbat out. Oof. He's gonna be a tight boy. He is not gonna fit well in his hoop. I can tell you that just by looking at him. He's gonna be an E6000 type of hoop. Are you a 7? Nope. You're a 6. Where the 7's at? That's a 9. That is way too big. I need a better way to organize these. Are you a 7? You're a 7. Okay. That's a 7. Hi, kitten. There's just a wild Wednesday clambering across my space. Thanks, girl. Much appreciated. Is that necessary? She's like, yes. Yes, it was necessary. Okay. Oh, shoot. He's gonna be off center. I made this one so long ago. And he's gonna be so off center. He's gonna make me angry because he's off center. It's a good thing this wasn't made from my pattern. This was made from the old patterns. So he will not stay on my wall forever, but he will be on my wall for now. So next time I will leave him with enough room to actually fit inside a hoop. Properly. What do I get? Alright. It's so good as a background show while sewing. Right now, my comfort thing while I'm cross-stitching is Rachel Maxey on YouTube. She is for sure my comfort streamer, like my comfort YouTube channel. Just the amount of adorable and whimsy that she brings to everything. Goals. For sure. Oh god, like that is, this is rough. He might not make it long term. Oh boy. I did myself a disservice with how tightly I cut this fabric. Big time. My fiance watches it too and he always has it on when he's doing dishes and projects. The back is so neat. Thank you. Alright. Okay, so for those of you that already know how to cross stitch, this next step is going to be terrifying. I ask you kindly to trust the process. I am a professional and I know what I'm doing. And by that I mean I have done it, I have finished off a back this way before and I promise it'll turn out okay. It's just absolutely terrifying. And where the hell are my pliers? Okay. Sorry. The pliers are probably not necessary for everyone, but I can't get the damn top of the E6000, so they are necessary for me. Okay, next step. Must have everything ready. Sakura Garnet Flower, thank you for the follow. I appreciate you. All right, trust me. Trust me. Any tips for someone that wants to start cross-stitching? I do have a how to cross-stitch guide that I have linked in my bio. Other than that, I would say cross-stitching is, I feel like cross-stitching is like way easier than it looks. Like it looks way more intimidating than it is. My biggest tip is leave yourself enough fabric on the edge so you don't have to do what I'm doing here. Because this one was made many, many years ago, and I did not leave myself enough thread because I was like, I can save money by not using as much thread, and now I'm paying for it. This looks terrifying to anyone who knows how to cross-stitch, and I recognize that. This is a slightly terrifying step for me, and I have done this many, many times to myself. I promise it'll be okay. Alright, that, this... It looks hard. I promise it's not. I promise. Let me finish up the back of this real quick, and I will get back to the stitching portion of the show, and I can kind of talk you through what exactly we're doing. This is me finishing off a different piece with not my recommended method, but you got to do what you got to do sometimes. All right, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to be doing some E6000 along where the wood meets, along the tip of the Ida cloth, because Ida cloth does fray, so I want to make sure that it doesn't. So the E6000 is going to keep it from fraying, and I'm also putting it like where the Ida cloth meets the inner piece of wood here, so that the Ida cloth is very secured to the wood. Now, if you are finishing off using this method, this is a permanent hooping method. You will not be able to take your piece out of it if you decide, oh, I don't want to have it in a hoop anymore. I want it in a frame, or I want to, do something else with it. You would literally have to cut it out of the hoop at this point. You will not be able to just remove the hoop. So I do not recommend this method. It's not my favorite method. Also, E6000 stinks to high heaven, so do it in an open space. Preferably outside if you can, and don't use it if you're pregnant, because this stuff is really nasty. But that being said, it does work. It's a quick method. I'll give you that. And it does work. I have finished a lot of pieces like this. Mainly my older pieces get finished like this because I didn't used to leave myself enough fabric when I was making my pieces. Because I was poor, and I was like, I don't need to spend money on fabric. I can, cut some corners and save a little bit of money, and now it's biting me in the butt when I'm going to actually hoop them, and I freaking can't. Okay, so Golbat is glued. I'm gonna go stick him in the bathroom away from me because he is stinky, and I also don't want my kittens to step on it and get glue on themselves, because that would be really, really bad. So give me just 10 seconds to run to stick him in the bathroom. All right, look at that, I'm back already. See, super quick. Okay. Umbreon recentered here. Alright, can I flip that? Yes, I can flip that, no problem. Alrighty. I recently bought an embroidery kit to try out. Do you have any tips for beginners? So embroidery is a little bit different than cross-stitching. I don't do a lot of embroidery. My brain likes cross-stitching better. So I'm not sure about embroidery specifically. For cross-stitching, one of the first things that I would say that you need to know is that the floss comes with 6 individual little strands in there. Let's see if I can kind of fan them apart a little bit so you can kind of see them. But there are 6 individual strands, And typically you're only working with 2 of those strands at a time. So the first thing you need to do is called splitting the floss. And so we're gonna take the ends of it, we're gonna pull 2 pieces off, and we're gonna pull it all the way down. So you end up with just 2 that you're working with in about an 18-inch length. So about 18 inches is the length that you should be working with. I work with a slightly longer length than that, but I've been doing this for 22, 23 years, something like that. And that I just like working with a longer length. But if you're new, I recommend starting with 12 to 18 inches to start. Okay, so we're just gonna, I tied a knot in one end. Some people will tell you you shouldn't knot your threads. I'm gonna tell you, for the most part, it's fine to tie a knot in the thread. Especially if you're gonna end up hooping it and keeping it in an embroidery hoop when you're finished with the piece. Tying a knot in the thread is not gonna make any difference in the world to your finished piece. If you are going to be putting it in a picture frame, you might want to consider using the lock stitch method, or like the woven under method. I've seen it called a few different things. So for right now, I'm going to show you just the knotted end, but I can also show like the lock stitch method as well. So we're just going to thread the other end of the needle. Now, this looks a little intimidating, I get that, because I started with a completely blank canvas. But what you're not seeing is on my lap onto the side, I have a whole pattern, and all of these different symbols correspond to a different color thread. So I have a chart and it says this symbol equals this color. So whenever I see that symbol on this page, I know that that's what color I'm using, B5200, which is white. So we have our grid. I personally draw the grid onto the back of my piece with a pencil. Not everybody does that. Some people only draw this center mark and then they work their way out from there. So there's a couple different ways, like that's just, there's a couple different ways that people like to do it. So those are 2 totally valid ones, is start from the center, work your way out, or you can draw a grid and then you can kind of start wherever you want because you're just counting, you know, the number of stitches and going off there. So this is called counted cross stitch. There is also printed cross stitch where the pattern is printed directly on the Ida cloth for you already. But doing counted cross stitch will give you a lot more options for patterns that you could do, because most cross stitch patterns are counted, not printed. Oh my gosh, I got glue on my finger and it's sticky. Don't like it. Please stop. Okay, so we are working with this little carrot shape, this little, sorry, I attacked it, this greater than symbol, and I already filled in this whole section of the tail, as you can see, so now I'm working over into this ear. Okay? So that's basically all I'm doing, is I'm looking for that symbol and I'm filling in a little X, little cross, in each of these little spots where it matches on the pattern. Emma Larson, thank you for the follow, I appreciate you. So I'm going to take this lap dust off my lap because it's not working for me. Okay, we're gonna jump up here. So there are 2 different methods of making the actual stitches. One is called the English method, where you make the entire X, like so. So you fill in the entire little square before you move on to the next square. I do not personally like the English method. It uses more thread and you get, oh, you can't even see it because there's stuff in the way. It gives you these little diagonal lines on the back as you're moving from square to square. So the little diagonals, it uses more thread to make a diagonal across it rather than an up and down or side to side little straight line. So I prefer what's called the Danish method, which leaves you with the up and down or the side to side lines. So the Danish method, I'm gonna start, yeah, right here. So the Danish method, we're gonna go like this, and we do half of a stitch, and then when we go up to this next corner, we're actually gonna do half of the next one. And we work all the way across the row, like that. And so that means we have a whole bunch of little up and down, perfect little up and down stitches right there on the back instead of little diagonals. And then you go back the other direction and you complete all of your little X's, going back the other way. And once again, we have a bunch of little up and down stitches on the back there. What's the difference with the size of the needle? It's really personal preference. For cross stitch, they recommend between a 24 and a 28 size needle, and that's just the gauge how thick the needle is. I prefer to work with a 26. That's just the size that feels good in my hand, but other than that, there's no real reason that you couldn't work with another size. It really is just about what feels good in your hand and what feels good for you to use. Cheyenne, thank you for the follow. I appreciate you. And Kawaii Penji, thank you for the follow as well. I appreciate you too. So when you're working Danish, you can actually work multiple rows at a time, particularly since I'm filling in like this entire block with color. So I just did this little tiny row, and now I'm gonna do the next row, still filling in the half a stitch, all going in the same direction. So as long as I'm still filling in all of these little half stitches going the same direction and just going, moving orthogonally, so up and down or side to side the entire time, I can just continue to do this entire block all at the same time. And I'm only gonna end up with straight stitches on the back. Now, I'm gonna fill in this little corner over here, and I am going to complete this particular stitch, this particular cross, because I'm coming back to this middle one, and then I'm gonna go down. And then I'm gonna complete this cross completely, because I'm coming back up to this one, and then I'm gonna go that way. It might take you a bit to kind of wrap your brain around what I'm saying, and if you just want to do one row at a time, that's totally valid. That's totally fine. As you kind of work with cross-stitching a bit, it'll start to like map itself out in your brain, and it'll make more sense over time, I promise. Thank you. No problem. Absolutely. If you have any specific questions, go ahead and drop them in here, and I'll do my best to answer questions as they come through. And the needle end is rounded, not sharp. No, the needle is definitely sharp. This is an embroidery needle. It is definitely a sharp-ended needle. Even though there are holes poked in this fabric, like pre-made in this fabric because of the way it's woven, you do still need a sharp needle, because as these threads, you have 4 threads coming in through one single hole, so you do still need a sharp needle to get through there once you start filling in the shapes. Oh my goodness, y'all. Give me a second. They redeemed more hydrates on me. Trying to drown me. Alright, Kaley, cheers. Tink, cheers to you as well. The hoops are out of stock? What hoops are out of stock? I don't understand. You put the cooldown on. I did put the cooldown on. What do you use to make your patterns? I make my patterns in Max Stitch, which is a pay-to-play program, but I haven't found any free ones that I personally like that give me all of the options that I want and use. If you have a Windows operating system and not a Mac operating system, it's going to be Win Stitch, not Mac Stitch. I have also used PC Stitch Pro in the past, and I thought that one was just fine, although some people have told me that they don't particularly like it these days. I'm not sure if they've done something different, but I haven't used it in about 10 years, so the program may have kind of gone to crap, so I can't really speak to it currently, only what I know of it from 10 years ago. But yeah. Why are your Finish a Hoop out of stock? My Finish a Hoop is out of stock? That's weird. You guys only did 2 of them. That doesn't sound right. Did I... Hold on. That doesn't make any sense. Give me a second. Manage. Manage a hoop. Oh, it has a cooldown. So you have to wait at least 30 minutes to have me finish another one. That way I have time to make sure I finish the first one before I do another one, so you can't like chain a whole bunch of them together the way that these guys do with the hydrates, because y'all. All right, Tink. Cheers again. And I think another cheers, I don't even know. Just cheers, Tink. I lost count. Hydrate has a 1-minute cooldown. She seems to think we weren't being helpful. She's got 4 now to redeem. Elle, help us help you. No! No! I reject. I reject your help. Elle Crafty Coffee, hello! Welcome to the chaos. Okay. Hold on. Ah! Can't tie. Can't tie knots. My finger's still slightly sticky from the glue. I don't like it. Like at all. It's very upsetting. Love you, Elle. I love you too, Tink. All right. I've never used a sharp needle. Yeah, you can definitely get away without it. Personally, I find it easier to use a sharp needle, but I mean, one of the things I always say about cross stitching is it's a choose your own adventure hobby, and so everybody's going to do things a little bit differently and have slightly different tools or have slightly different techniques and things like that, and none of them are wrong. It's, you know, everybody does it their own way, and so, you know, personally, I use a sharp needle. It works good for me. I do tend to use my needle far longer than like you're supposed to. So my needle does dull out over time and it's not as sharp. I think the last needle I used for about 5 years straight, before I finally had to give it up, not because there was anything wrong with the tip of the needle, but actually the eye of the needle was wearing out because of how much thread I had, you know, put through it, and as it's pulling, it does pull down on that tiny little bit. So over time, it was literally wearing out, and it was starting to catch on my floss and snag and create a bunch of problems for me. So I did end up having to get rid of it for that reason and get a new one, which I was not happy about. I complained a lot. Ask my followers. It was a few months ago, and I was not happy about it. I love my old needle. Pro tip, leave Twitch open when she streams so you can earn extra balls when she's not looking. Excuse me, kitten. Why are you on the mantle? Can you get down from there, please? Do I have to come rescue you? I might have to go rescue my freaking cat. She climbed up on the mantle. She's not supposed to be up there. It's pretty high for her to jump down. And then your brother thinks he can get up there, and he definitely cannot. He's not anywhere near as coordinated as you, miss. So can you please get down? Wednesday. Oh, God, what did you find now? Oh, God. Chaos. Absolute chaos. I've been cross-stitching for at least 40 years. Nice. I've been cross-stitching for over 20 now. I'm cross-stitching right now and just came across you. Aw, thanks for joining, Lurelight. Welcome. What just happened? Oh my. Christy, thank you for the follow. I appreciate you. My needles are sharp. Mine are sharp as well. I poked myself earlier today. I was sad. I did not draw blood. It is rare for me to draw blood with a needle. I've probably only done it like once or twice, like ever. Usually I'm pretty good about not doing that, but every once in a while I get myself good. Okay, I need to go rescue her. She's not coming down off of there, and now she's looking rather alarmed. Ow! Okay. No, come here. Don't run away from me. Come here. I'm trying to help you. Oh my God. Oh my God. Don't. Oh God. Ugh. Okay. She's down. She got down on her own because she didn't want me to help her. She was insistent. I was in the way. Ugh. Sharp needles doesn't hurt if you have nerve damage. Ugh. No. That's not good. I took a pause on my hummingbird and lotus. I picked up a beach theme that says take time. Aw, nice. What am I doing? I'm done Arcanine. Hopefully my Michael's DMC3 get back in stock. Yes, I hope it gets back in stock for you so quickly. I can't, like, how many is that now that you've made only to be like, shoot, I need one more color? Because I swear it's like 5. Like the last like 5 in a row. I swear. Zombie Kitty, thank you for the follow. I appreciate you. This is amazing. I was just talking to my bestie about starting to try cross stitch. Do it! I'm an enabler. I will sit here and be like, yes, everyone should try cross stitch. Everyone, come and join us. If you want to learn how to cross stitch, I do have a how to cross stitch guide linked in my bio. And if you ask questions here on my lives or on like in the comments of my videos, I will either answer in video format, or if you're on a live, I will just answer right in the live and like walk you through whatever it is you're asking about right there on the live. Sasha Mayer, thank you for the follow. I appreciate you. Otters are my favorite too. I'll join now. Yeah, also, I do have a Discord server where you can join, and we have a needlework channel among other crafty channels and stuff. And you can ask questions on there, as well as connect with other crafty people. We share our works in progress and our finished pieces. We cheer each other on. We share tips and tricks and all kinds of stuff like that. So yeah, it's like a really great community over there. Savage Renee, thank you for the follow. I appreciate you. And G Elizabeth, thank you for the follow as well. I appreciate you too. I prefer blunt-ish because I'm a klutz and tend to split my backing into a mess. I mean, like I said, everybody, like, you just need to figure out, like, what it is that works for you and, like, what your process is and, like, what tools work the best for you, and just go from there. There's no one right answer that works for everybody, and that's okay. Get out of my way. Stay over there. Okay. How do you get the back of the pieces so nice? Every time I look at the back and cringe. I have been stitching for about 20 years, but if you're looking for your pieces to be really nice, I would recommend looking into the Danish method of stitching. It has to do with thread efficiency, and that is what I use. Is the reason my backs look so clean is because I have spent years with the goal of how can I be as efficient as possible with my thread usage. Which the answer is straight up and down lines, minimize your diagonals. So because of that, my backs have lots and lots of up and downs or side to side lines and not a whole lot of diagonals, with the exception of some of the kind of edge pieces, like black is my outline. So that I tend to have some diagonals. And then the other thing you can do to help your backs be less messy is don't jump. Don't do big jumps of the thread where you're jumping from one piece, like one area to another. And third is you don't have to knot off like I do. Like I tie knots on my pieces that are going to be finished in a hoop because there's not going to be anything pushing on the backs of them. And so that leaves like these little fluffy tails. But if you do the woven under method or the lock stitch method, you will have even less, like they'll lie real flat underneath your straight stitches, and it will look even nicer. But I don't bother because this is quicker and easier when it's in a hoop. Hi Nana, how you doing? Darlicious, thank you for the follow, I appreciate you. An unknown person, thank you for the follow, I appreciate you as well. I just learned beginning of this month and I'm obsessed. Aw, that's awesome, I'm so excited for you. I am obsessed and have been for many years now. But I always love hearing about new people starting cross-stitching. It makes me so happy. How many strands are your go-to? 2. I almost always stitch with 2 strands unless a pattern specifically calls for something else. I'm working on a piece right now that has some back stitching that calls for 1 strand, but other than that, 2 is pretty standard. That's usually the go-to. She Hooked, thank you for the follow, I appreciate you. How long have you been doing cross stitch? I'm nearly 34 and I've been doing it for nearly 20 years. I am 33 and I've been cross stitching for over 20 years now. I believe I started when I was about 10 or 11 or so. And then I just did a little bit. Oh my gosh. My cats are insane right now. Like, what the crap? They're just careening around the room. Insane. So yeah, I think I started when I was about 10 or 11, but then I didn't start like stitching everything in sight until I was probably closer to about 15. But yeah. So I'd done a few pieces before then, but then I like really started stitching all the time. Lorelai, thank you for the follow. I appreciate you. I think I'm on the wrong Discord. Uh-oh. Does it say the dice and the thing? Because it was originally a TTRPG Discord. And was very D&D focused, but we do have a really robust craft section on there, and it is sort of converting to be a lot more craft oriented than it used to be, but we do still have a lot of D&D and tabletop RPG stuff in the server. It is actually a really big server. We probably have about 650-ish people on the server total. But yeah, if you found the link through my bio, you are on the right server, I promise. I thought that was a child. Nope, that would be my kittens. I have 2 8-month-old kittens, and they're insane. 8 months, 9 months? Are they 9 months now? They're 9 months now. I have 9-month-old kittens. They're crazies. All right.
It's like 4. Bulbasaur, Gengar, Arcanine, and Umbreon. Oh, I'm so sorry. I think I'll do Jigglypuff next, but of course I'm missing the freaking color for that too. Oh my gosh. I might tackle Pikachu for my kiddo, but I'd like to do one for me since the last 3 projects have been for others. I'd like one for me. Oh, Kaley, did Poliwag make it to you yet? Did you get the Poliwag kit? I know I sent it out, well, like a week ago. I think I sent it out a week ago, but I know it sometimes takes a little bit longer to get to you, so I always like to check in and make sure that it gets there. Gotta go eat, but I'll see you next stream for sure. Have a good rest of your stream. Thank you, Chibi Kitty. Have a good evening. Get some food. I'm here. Hello, Akuma. And you're stitching with me. Oh, awesome. Oh, it's not there yet. Darn. Okay, yeah, I know it takes, for some reason, it takes just a little bit longer to get to you since you're in Canada, but, you know, there's only so much I can do about that, unfortunately. Jatapia, thank you for sharing the live. I appreciate that. I totally feel that I picked this up. I picked up this craft for my mom and her sister since they also. Aw, that's so cool. I definitely picked this up for myself and by myself. Like, I did not know anybody who cross stitched. My mom does not cross stitch, but my mom is definitely like a very crafty and artistic person, so I definitely got that from her. But our mediums have always been a little different. So yeah. Puppy Unicorn, thank you for the follow. I appreciate you. Mine get here about 2 weeks after you ship. I know. I always feel so bad because, like, I feel like by the time you get it, I'm like packing up the next one for you and like getting it sent on its way. So it always feels like you're so much further behind. Like, I don't know. I always feel bad, but like I don't know what else to do about it, you know? Like, I can't make it ship faster. I'll definitely let you know. Thank you. I always get a little stressed out about that, so thank you for letting me know. What in the heck did I just do? That went through the not right place. Come out of there, you. Get. There we go. I can't wait to stitch Poliwag. I think the swirl in the belly would be cool to stitch. He's so cute. He is definitely a little oval shaped, like because he's wider than he is tall. But that being said, I think he's gonna be super cute. There we go. Goodness gracious. Alright, let's finish off this little row right here, and then Unicorn redeemed, finishing a Pokemon hoop. All right, Unicorn, are we finishing a 4, 5, 6, or 7-inch hoop? You get to decide because you redeemed. No worries, constant stream of cross stitching. I like it. I like it. For me, it gives me time to do a couple others in between. Well, that's good. I mean, you have been on a roll. You have been stitching those so fast. It is insane. The Umbreon is adorable. Thank you. My grandma did cross stitch, so I have a few half-made projects in my stash, and I don't know what to do. It feels wrong to undo it and use a floss. Oh, I hear you on that. I came across a half-finished piece that my great-grandma had made, and I have it stashed away somewhere, and I don't know what to do with it because it is massive, but I also, like, don't know what it was supposed to be. It almost looks like a tablecloth or something, but, like, that doesn't feel right because it's Ida cloth. Like, who would use that as a tablecloth? But I don't know what the heck it was supposed to be. So, I don't quite know what to do with it. I'll have to figure it out at some point. I also don't know what colors she used, and, like, nothing. Okay. 7-inch hoop, please. All right. All right, here are the 7s for you to choose from. We've got Moltres. We've got Zapdos. We've got Fearow, Kingler, Mach, and Pidgeotto. So, what are we finishing up? And I will look for another 7-inch hoop somewhere in here. Are you 7? Yeah, you're 7. Here we go. You got me hooked. What can I say? I'm an enabler. It's okay. And to think I was only going to do one a month. I mean, can you ever really just stop at one a month? Really? Moltres. Alright, we're going to do Moltres. Could cut it to the finished edges and frame it like art. I mean, I couldn't. Maybe you could do that with your piece. I couldn't because mine is like I said, like it's really big, but like the parts that are stitched are like not all together. So I don't know what the heck it was supposed to be or what to do with it. All right. I've done 10 so far. I think I finished 6. Oh my gosh, that's so many. Painter's tape and masking tape, you can stick it to Ida cloth and it comes up really, really easily. Especially if you have edges that are fraying, like especially if you're working on a bigger piece and you're worried about the edges fraying as you go, you can bind the edges with painter's tape or masking tape. So like you stick it halfway on one side and then you like fold it over like you would do like a bias tape with sewing, and that will keep the edges from fraying. So just a tip. I don't know why I labeled this. I know what this is. I don't know what the heck Cast Me was doing, but here you go. Tips and tricks for painters. Lou and Matt, thank you for the follow. I appreciate you. All right, we're gonna hold that up to the light. Get him about as centered as I can be. Yeah, big boy. There we go. So smart. I'm gonna tape mine right now. Yeah, I highly recommend taping big pieces. Yeah. Or if you're hand working the piece and you aren't using a hoop, because hoops are not entirely necessary. I recommend them. It makes it a lot easier, but they are not strictly necessary. So if you are free stitching, I recommend putting it in a hoop. Or not putting it in a hoop, taping the edges. If you're free stitching, I recommend putting it in a hoop. That's a given. I always recommend putting it in a hoop. If you don't want to put it in a hoop, or you can't put it in a hoop for whatever reason, tape the edges. My brain went off on a tangent and left me behind. Oh, good Lord. I apologize to everyone for that utter lack of nonsense that just came out of my mouth. Lanita Crafter, thank you for the follow. I appreciate you. You're doing Zapdos. I am doing Moltres, but I do have Zapdos in the file folder. My backing is just really fraying and falling apart. Yeah, definitely can happen. Okay, I don't, okay. Whatever brand of hoop this is, I don't like it. That it has an actual nut right here. So, hold on. I have pliers. Let's see. Hold that. I win. There we go. Now it's nice and tight. Alright, Lou and Matt. I'm switching my glasses now. Oh, everything. Close that before, oh no, I need the scissors out of there. Before the cat jumps in the back of the drawer again and tries to dig into the cat treats like she did last time. I meant Moltres. Yes, Moltres. And this world, thank you for the follow. I appreciate you. I'm going to start on my first big project soon. An 11 by 17 Italian scene. I'm nervous but excited. Oh, that's so exciting! Brain went burr. Yes. Okay, so the next step I do after we re-hoop and try to recenter a piece. This is a really old piece. This is actually probably one of the first ones I ever stitched about 15 years ago. One of the first few that I stitched that's Pokemon. And it definitely has like a little bit of discoloration and like stuff like that. So I know that this is not going to be on my wall forever.
because I will be restitching with one of my own patterns. But for now, he's gonna get hooped. Alright, so the next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut about a 1 inch or so circle all the way around my hoop. Does not have to be perfect. You can just eyeball it. It's okay. Okay. That's all done. Throw it away. Okay, still need scissors. Okay. So. Have you ever done Zorua? No, I haven't. I have only done Pokemon from the first 150, with the exception of some of the evolutions. Like, I'm working on Umbreon right now. But other than that, I stick to the first 150. And as far as patterns, I make patterns from the first 5 generations. So I'm not sure which generation Zorua is from. I can't remember offhand. If it's from the first 5, I can make a pattern. If it's not, they change their design style, and I hate it. I want them pixelated. Currently working on my first big project that's the entire first gen of Pokemon. Oh, I've seen that one. I like it. I approve so much. I just started the really, really big epic one. That's the first 5 generations combined, and it is so big it's gonna take me so long. I probably should have just done like the single generation at a time versions, but I was like, no, go big or go home. And it's really big. Have you ever put your cross stitch in a frame when you finished instead of a hoop? I have. I've done that for presents for people. I haven't done it for any of my personal pieces because I like the way they look in hoops, but I have done framed versions of stuff for gifts for people. I made a Celtic cross at one point for somebody's grandmother. And so I did frame that one because I felt like it fit in a frame, and it should be in a frame more so than just like in a hoop. And I also did a big Celtic tree of life with all of her kids' names all around it, and her husband's names up at the top for somebody, and that one I also framed. But yeah, all of my personal pieces pretty much end up in hoops because that's what I like. But it's me, Louise from TikTok. Hello, welcome. What's your favorite Pokemon? I like Vulpix. I don't know if you can see Vulpix. It's usually behind all of this mess, but Vulpix down here is my little buddy, and is my favorite. It's Gen 5. Okay, so yeah, if Zorua is Gen 5, then I can absolutely make a pattern for that one. Alynemic, thank you for the follow. I appreciate you. And Viviso, thank you for the follow as well. I appreciate you too. Do you ever have trouble with the fabric getting loose while working? Yes, particularly when I'm working with bigger hoop sizes, the fabric will start to like get loose and wobbly as you're working. And basically what you can do is, like I was tightening, pulling the fabric tight around the back and then retightening the screw up at the top, that will kind of retighten it down. So sometimes you do have to like retighten it as you work. But yeah, that absolutely does happen. It's pretty normal, like I said, especially when you're working on a bigger piece, because the bigger piece is going to take you longer to do, and by default, it's going to be a little bit less tight than the smaller pieces, because there's more fabric in the middle, and there's less wood per square inch of fabric for it to pull it taut, if that is like kind of the scientific mumbo jumbo. So that's why it's going to come looser, easier. Spit it, don't you? There we go.
For those of you on Twitch, that was the sexiest face I've ever made. I hope you appreciate that. Oh, Vulpix is your favorite too? That's awesome. What should I do with a project that I haven't touched in a while? Do I need to iron it? While touched in a while, do I need to iron it? Possibly. It really depends on the piece. This one, oh, that sucked. That went flying. This is definitely going to need to be ironed before I put it in a hoop, but some of my other pieces don't need to be ironed before they go into hoops. This one went through the washing machine for reasons. So he's going to need to be ironed before I put him in a hoop. But by and large, I'm lazy and I don't like ironing. And if I can get away without ironing, I will. But yeah, I'm really lazy. And if I can take even one step out of the process for myself, that will help bridge the hurdle to getting things finished for me. The more steps there are, the harder it is for me to finish things. Do you do any of the Alolan forms? I believe the Alolan forms, what generation is Alola? Can you let me click on the thing? Rawr. Let me click. Okay, somebody else do the Google search for me because my computer is being stupid. What generation is Alola? I can make patterns for any of the Pokemon Gen 1 through 5. So if Alola is Gen 5 or earlier, then yes, I can do Alolan forms. But I don't know offhand if Alola is... My favorite Pokemon is Alolan Vulpix. Oh, Alolan Vulpix is so cute. Personally, I would love to have a little Alolan Vulpix over here to go with regular Vulpix behind me because they're so darn cute. And I feel like they would just be besties. What generation of Pokemon is Alola? Okay, so it looks like Alola is Gen 7. So I don't know that I'd be able to make, patterns for those because they changed the art style for 6 and later. And they're not pixelated anymore, they're 3D renderings, which don't translate well to pixel art. But yeah. Galarian Rapidash is my favorite. Oh my gosh, little cotton candy Rapidash. Heck yes. Super cute. Ah, did I attack the phone? I apologize. Come on, go through. Alright. Same here, just don't want to get the iron out, dude. Same. That is like my motto every day of my life is how can I get away with not getting my iron out because, man, I hate it. That is why I don't sew very often because sewing, you kind of have to iron as you go sometimes and like press seams and stuff like that. And I've tried just ignoring those directions and being like, no, it's fine. You don't need to press the seams. Yes, you do. Yes, you frickin' do sometimes. And I don't wanna. Am I a brat? Absolutely. Is it gonna stop me? Am I gonna continue being a brat? Yes. Absolutely. Don't like my iron. I'm not sure my iron likes me either. It knows how I feel about it. And we're almost all the way around this Moltres. Holy cow, you big boy.
players. Am I going to have enough thread? I really hope so. Oh, just barely. Just barely enough. Okay, back up. Those layers. Then we go and tie a knot. And I just barely got enough. I win the thread chicken, sort of. This isn't real thread chicken, but whatever. Counts. Alright, there we go. Ah, you got fuzzies on you, Moltres. Stop it. Why you got fuzzies? I need to get my lint roller out. Lint roller these guys. Alright, so there you go. There's Moltres. And he gets added to the pile. Get over there. Okay, so we finished Abra. We finished something. What was the other one we finished? I banished it to the bathroom, so I can't remember what it is. Golbat. I think it was Golbat. We finished Golbat and we finished Moltres. Alright, we got about 10 minutes left. The bat, yes, the bat. Snip the end of that. So clean. Get off my finger! Get off my finger. Who wants to be friends? I have the paper due tonight, and I have not wanted to do it. I'm gonna be so happy when it's done. Oh no, you gotta do your paper! You gotta do the paper. And then you can come do fun stuff. Shoot. Umbreon ran away from me. I gotta go retrieve it. Hold on. Aha! Come here. Ow! Okay. I'm back. It's fine. We're fine. Everything's fine. Don't worry about it. It's all good. Alright. Back to stitching. That's so cool. Thank you. I appreciate that. My needle magnet is 2 otters holding hands. Oh, that's so stinking cute. My friend made me a cross stitch of 2 otters holding hands with 2 baby otters, and I would show it to you guys, except it has my old last name on it, which is also my kid's last name, so can't show it to you, but I do still have it, even though it's not my last name anymore. I don't really know what to do with it, because I know, like, my friend made it for me, you know? So, but I feel weird about it because it's not my name. Is it a Pokemon? It is! This is Umbreon. This is one of the evolutions. Umbreon is my son's favorite Pokemon. Oh, that's so sweet. Alright, tie that off. And that is pretty much going to be it for stitching on the live tonight, because I have to teach small humans in the morning, which means I'm going to get to bed. But I want to say thank you guys so much for coming and hanging out with me tonight. I do have a little bit of like end of stream wrap up stuff to get through, so I understand if you want to hop off right now. I appreciate if you stay and listen, but I understand if you don't want to. I get that. So first things first, I do want to thank my wonderful patrons. You guys are the ones who make it possible for me to continue doing what I love, which is cross-stitching and designing cross-stitching patterns for all of you and teaching people how to cross-stitch and all of this fun stuff. So thank you so much to my newest patron, Michaela, also Sarah, Allyson, Melanie, Giordan, Kaley, Alexandra, Chelsea, Shirley, Lynn, Amber, Lisa, and Demented Lemming, aka Abra. Thank you guys so much. You guys are amazing and wonderful, and I love you all so much. if you would like to learn how to cross stitch, I have a link in my bio that gives you a how to cross stitch guide, among other things. If you're over on Twitch, when I say link in my bio, this is the link that I am talking about. You can click on that and it'll take you to all the stuff I'm about to tell you about. So if you would like to learn how to cross stitch, I do have a how to cross stitch guide linked in there. As well, you can also get all of my Pokemon patterns, or you can get most of my Pokemon patterns through my Etsy shop. You can get all of my Pokemon patterns through Patreon. If you're looking to get more than 2 patterns, I highly suggest looking into the Patreon membership, because the all access tier is only $12. That's cheaper than buying 3 patterns in my Etsy shop, and you get access to all of the 44 Pokemon patterns that I've already made. I also add at least 4 new ones every single month. This month I added 8 brand new ones. I went a little overboard, but that's okay because I love to spoil you guys. So I also have a $7 tier if you can't quite afford the $12 one, where you just get a couple new patterns every month. And if you would really like a kit sent to you every single month, I do have a $50 a month tier. It gets you access to the entire library, but then you also get a brand new kit every single month of one of the new Pokemon sent straight to your door, so you can just get stitching right away and not have to worry about buying supplies or anything like that. If you want to know what supplies I personally use, whether it's what count of item cloth I use, what brands of stuff that I like, and stuff like that, I do have a supplies list linked in my bio that will give you links to all of the places where I personally buy all of the supplies that I use to do all of my cross-stitching stuff. If you are on TikTok and you would like to watch the stream on Twitch or follow me over on Twitch, it is the same as my screen name here, except it is a 0 instead of an O in soup. And vice versa, if you are on Twitch and you want to follow me over on TikTok, where I do make video content and things like that as well, it's alphabet soup with an O instead of a 0. I do have a Discord server. It was built originally as a TTRPG server, but we do have a pretty robust craft section on there. And it's just a really great community over there of people cheering each other on. As it turns out, the overlap between TTRPG people and crafty people is a Venn diagram with quite a lot of crossover. So in our crafting section, we post our works in progress and our finished pieces, and we cheer each other on and all kinds of really cool stuff like that. We also do a self-care challenge and things like that to help remind you to take care of yourself and to check in with yourself and make sure that you are getting the things that you need. So it's just a really, really loving, supportive community over there on Discord, and I love it so much over there. I do upload all of my Twitch streams over to YouTube, usually a couple days after I've filmed them, whatever, done the live stream. And I am moving my TikTok content over to YouTube as well, just in case the TikTok ban goes through. It'll just already be over there, living over there. So if you want to make sure that you don't lose me on TikTok, if that TikTok ban comes through, you can follow me over on Twitch or YouTube or, places like that, just in case, because we don't know what's going to happen. But yeah, I think that is pretty much it. Once again, thank you to my Patreons, and thank you all of you so much for coming and hanging out with me tonight and just being a part of the live. I live stream 2 times a week. I stream on Wednesdays and Sundays at 7:30 Eastern time. That is my normal schedule for streaming. I usually stream for about 3 hours or so, and I won't touch him until the next stream. So you will hopefully get to see him finished up, or at least get real close to being finished on the next stream. And then you guys will get to vote on which one we're going to be working on next. So that's what I like, is that this ends up feeling much more collaborative, because you guys are voting on what colors I should be stitching and which ones I should be stitching and things like that. So yeah, I don't know. I love the live stream nights. These are some of my favorite things every week, is coming live and getting to talk with all of you guys and hang out with you. So thank you guys for joining me. And thank you, Indigo Void, for the follow. I appreciate you. You're awesome. And Maria Del Pilxer, thank you for the follow as well. I appreciate you too. You guys are amazing.